Hello, this is a guy who likes fanfiction and is too lazy to read, so here is Neo Yondaime Hokage in audio form. Check the description for the links to the author. Chapter 16, Memory Lane. 1 year later. Naruto, age 12, was on his way to the academy for the Genin team assigning while sporting a new look for himself. Gone was his ninja mask and braided ponytail, leaving his long stringy blonde hair that was partly spiked on top to fall sloppily down his back and over his shoulders with some strands to fall over his forehead. His leaf head protector was tied over his head with some of his hair resting over it. As a result of Minato's chakra infusing into the preteen, some of Naruto's facial baby fat was gone, making him look a little more mature than his age. His clothes appearance was now like that of a male jounin, except he was still wearing his fingerless black gloves, a sleeveless and collarless blackish-blue shirt showing off his nicely toned bare arms. He wasn't wearing the official Konoha jounin vest. Instead he was wearing a green vest that looked similar to a jounin's, but the collar and the bottom rim weren't as thick and it didn't have as many pockets. On him was a specially made white vest reached past his waist with the same features and flame designs as Yondaime's trademark trench coat. On the back of the vest in red kanji was the slogan Konoha no Nidaime Senko, Konoha's second flash. Many were looking at Naruto as he made his way down the streets of Konoha, totally surprised at his new appearance. A number of the men and women were murmuring amongst themselves about how shocking it was that Naruto's new appearance made him look strikingly like a young miniature version of Yondaime Hokage with attitude. The preteen saw the looks everyone was giving him, but he just continued on his way. He remembered how Tsunade objected to the idea of him dressing up that like, arguing that it'll earn him dangerous attention, especially from Iwagakure. Naruto argued that he had enemies all his life both within and outside of Konoha, and that the Akatsuki only added to it even before his new appearance. He then added that no matter how he dresses, being a ninja will always guarantee many enemies and allies at the same time. Tsunade knew this, of course, but as a protective mother, adoptive or not, she still didn't want to risk losing Precious, her son, whom she believed was growing up too fast for her liking. Like Sasuke, age 12, Naruto passed all of the exams with flying colors. However, Naruto held back some of his abilities so as to not show off what he can really do and add more to the already existing rivalry he has with Sasuke, who was anything but happy after he learned of Itachi's defeat to Naruto. Flashback, 1 year ago. It's sometimes hard to keep certain issues a secret, especially if this issue regards the fight Naruto got himself into with Itachi and Kisame protecting Hinata and Ino. Ino told Sakura and her other female schoolmates about it, and they told their friends and folks about it, and the rest is history. Many Chiryunins and Jounins who've heard about the event from their Umbu friends found the story hard to believe until they said that Kakashi was an eyewitness to it, something that couldn't be refuted. Even some of the Umbu were surprised about how Naruto held his grounds against some like Itachi and survived no less to tell about it, unlike anyone else who crossed his path with the exception of Sasuke, who was spared for reasons not explained. Naruto's encounter with the two S-class missing nins was the talk of the village. Naruto was on his way to school, dodging and running from as many fangirls as he could while on the way. They don't even know I'm the son of Yondaime and already they're acting like this, Naruto thought as he ran into the academy with a horde of fangirls chasing him. Damn. I was hoping that my encounter with Itachi would have been kept on a down low. How the hell did it spread this fast? I know the feeling, Naruto, Minato laughed. I had my share of fangirls back in my days before Kushina came along and scared them all away. This isn't funny, Naruto shot back in frustration. Many of the rumors and gossips that I've heard about my battle with Itachi and Kisame were exaggerated. Entering the building, Naruto, by stroke of luck, managed to have the girls lose sight of where he disappeared to. Disappointed, the girls disbanded and decided to chase after Naruto later. Sighing in relief, Naruto made his way to class and entered to see all eyes on him. From what Naruto saw, there were mixed expressions. Most of the girls were looking at him with hearts in their eyes, whereas Sakura looked at him questionably, wondering if what her best friend told her was true. She found it hard to believe that Naruto was able to stand against a feared ninja like Itachi. Shikamaru, Chuji, and Kiba looked at Naruto with smirks on their faces, wanting to hear from the horse's mouth exactly what happened instead on listening to the rumors. Shino looked at him with indifference, however he himself was interested in the encounter. Naruto looked directly at Sasuke, who was looking at him with pure contempt and hatred in his eyes. The blonde ninja knew Sasuke was aware of what happened between him and his older brother, and to say that Sasuke wasn't happy about it would have been understatement. He was downright furious. The tension between the two boys was thick enough to slice with a kunai. Seeing the tension, Iruka recaptured everyone's attention. "All right, Naruto. You're here, so please take your seat." Naruto nodded. Went on his way to sit between Ino and Hinata as usual. He looked at both girls, who blushed and looked away shyly. During the class session, Iruka eyed Naruto questionably also. He knew that there was a lot more to the blonde youth than he let on. It was something he always suspected since he became Naruto's teacher, and the event between the boy and the 2's class missing nins only served to add to his suspicions. Later. It was lunchtime and everyone was outside either eating or practicing. Meanwhile, Naruto was eating lunch by himself, meditating on what Sarutobi told him about the Clan Restoration Act. Although Sandaime told him he didn't have to worry about marrying any girl anytime soon, however, Naruto wondered if he should go through with marrying more than one girl or stick to one. He already knew that Hinata was betrothed to him, though Hinata herself isn't aware of it, and neither is Ino. And speaking of Ino, Naruto wondered, would she even consent to being married to me along with Hinata? Should I accept to go through to notion of marrying more than one female in order to restore the Namikaze clan? A moment later his train of thoughts was interrupted when Ino and Hinata appeared, asking if they could eat alongside him. He thanked them but declined their offer, explaining to them that he has a lot on his mind and would rather eat alone in order to clear his mind. Both girls were disappointed that Naruto declined their company since he always welcomed it. However, they saw the look in his eyes and acknowledged that a lot more seemed to trouble him than his battle with their kidnappers. Choosing not to pry in his privacy, both girls respectfully departed from him and said that they would talk with him later. A couple of minutes later, after Naruto was done eating his lunch, Naruto stood up and prepared to leave when he sensed a presence from behind him. He turned to see Sasuke looking at him with livid eyes. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Naruto asked, already knowing why. "Fight me," Sasuke stated with coldness in his voice. "Say what?" Naruto said, being caught off guard by Sasuke's challenge. "Fight me, Naruto," Sasuke said louder, catching the attention of the other students who started gathering around them. "You can't be serious," Naruto retorted. "I have no reason to fight you." "I have reasons to fight you," Sasuke challenged. "You're one of the main people I've always wanted to fight and defeat." The crowd of students was getting rowdy as many were expecting a good battle between Sasuke and Naruto, the top two students of the academy. Sakura, Hinata, and Ino were among those in the crowd. Though the three girls were not cheering and hoping for a fight, however, they couldn't help but worry how this would turn out. Naruto though saw this as a potential one-sided fight that would not end in Sasuke's favor for many reasons. "Ridiculous," Naruto said, "I don't have time for this." Naruto turned and walked off from Sasuke. The Uchiha youth, angered by Naruto's refusal to fight him, sought to provoke the young blonde. "Coward," Sasuke spat, "don't turn your back on me, dobe." "Say what you will," Naruto retorted, "right now I have more important things on my mind." Enraged even more by Naruto not seeking to fight him, Sasuke took the initiative in attacking Naruto from behind with the intention of goading him into fighting. Naruto however ducked and dodged the punch that would have made contact with the back of his head. Turning around, he was met with a barrage of punches and kicks that were sent at him from Sasuke, all of which were evaded and blocked with sharp efficiency and grace. The crowd of students yelled and cheered the fighters on in hopes that things would get interesting. Kiba and Chuji were cheering Naruto on, yelling things like "bust his ass, show him a thing or two." Shikamaru simply mumbled, "How troublesome." Shino was attentive and silent, interested in how this battle was going to end. Sakura was yelling for Sasuke to stop fighting, but her words fell on deaf ears. A majority of the girls present were pulled between loyalties between Naruto and Sasuke. They were distraught about the event and saddened that their two favorite guys were engaged in a heated combat, with Sasuke throwing all of the assaults and Naruto doing all of the evading and blocking. Ino and Hinata, though witnessing how Naruto was able to effortlessly prevent harm from befalling him, still couldn't help but be worried for their friend's well-being. Things got serious when Sasuke pulled out a kunai from his pocket, and attempted to use it on Naruto. Pulling out his own kunai, Naruto started clashing his kunai against Sasuke's. The blonde shinobi knew that he could have ended this fight a long time ago, even before the fight even started at all. However, he wanted to see how far Sasuke could go, and so far none of them used any form of ninjutsu. Soon the two met each other and their kunows clashed and wrestled against each other in a tug of war for supremacy. The two boys looked each other in the eyes. Sasuke saw calmness and steadiness in Naruto's eyes, as though he wasn't bothered by what was going on. The Uchiha sworn that the blonde was smirking underneath his ninja mask. Naruto saw only coldness, fury, and hatred in Sasuke's eyes, with a touch of bloodlust. "Sasuke, you can be better than this," Naruto counseled. "Don't walk down this path of hate. Don't follow in your brother's footsteps." Just the mere mention of his brother made Sasuke's blood boil, in spite of the fact that Naruto was trying to keep him from walking down the path Itachi went. Pulling away for a second, Sasuke charged at Naruto, slashing his kunao at him before grabbing a few shurikens from his pocket and throwing them at him with the intent of striking him. The shurikens instead struck a nearby tree and deeply embedded into it. "This guy is serious," Naruto acknowledged. Seeing that the fight turned seemingly deadly, Naruto decided to end it before things really got out of control. With a speed that none present were able to grasp, Naruto charged at Sasuke and did a pressure point to his neck, which knocked him into an instantaneous state of unconsciousness. Sasuke went falling toward the ground face down before Sakura hurriedly ran and grabbed him before he actually hit the ground. A few other girls went over to Sasuke to see if he was alright, while Ino and Hinata went over to Naruto, who didn't look fatigued at all. Iruka, Mizuki, and a few other Chiyunins came to see what was going on, only to see Naruto and the other students standing before the unconscious Sasuke. "He's not dead," Naruto informed everyone, "but he won't be awake for the next few hours." "Why did you do that for?" Sakura yelled. Not fazed by her reaction, Naruto replied, "He needed time to cool down and think things over. And in case you haven't noticed, he attacked me first and I was getting bad vibes from him during the fight. So I decided to knock him out painlessly." "Alright, everyone back inside," Iruka said. Everyone but Naruto groaned as they complied. Iruka went over and picked Sasuke up off the ground and carried him back into the building. While walking into the building, he overheard Ino and Hinata talking to Naruto about his battle with Sasuke. "That was quite a fierce fight you and Sasuke were in," Hinata said. "True, but it was so awesome. You sure showed him, didn't you, Naruto-kun?" Ino added more emphasis on his name before turning and grinning at Sakura, earning a sneer and death glare from the pink-haired girl. "There was nothing for me to show him," Naruto replied. "I could have ended that fight the entire time if I really wanted to. I was more interested in seeing what he was really capable of." "And what did you see?" Hinata inquired. Naruto replied, "Sasuke has potentials that he does. His deeply rooted handicap, however, is that he has a terrible rage and lacks the conviction needed to let go of his hatred. If he's not careful, that very handicap will consume him." Again, Iruka looked at Naruto with wonder, before concluding to himself that it must be because he's the son of Tsunade. Yet even that did little to satisfy the many questions his mind had about Naruto. End flashback. The Genin exam ended with Sasuke and Naruto being tied for the title of Rookie of the Year. What many didn't know, however, was that Naruto held back a great deal and willingly put himself in a tie with Sasuke for the title, thus a tiebreaker was to be held. Iruka and the other teachers used Naruto and Sasuke's past records and performances both inside and outside the academy to break the tie. They also used the reports that discussed Naruto's battle with Itachi and Kisame. They reasoned that Naruto, who wasn't even a genin at the time, was able to hold his grounds against a former Umbu captain and his S-level criminal partner, and successfully rescued and saved Ino and Hinata. Iruka then presented a report of a fight Sasuke started up with Naruto, who defeated him with a one-hit blow. With these facts, they gave the title of Rookie of the Year to Naruto. The blonde preteen shinobi knew that this only served to add to the growing rivalry between him and Sasuke, something he was trying to condense. Sending his mind elsewhere, Naruto recalled another incident that guaranteed that he would never be the same again. Flashback, 10.5 months ago. Naruto was returning from jogging for 3 hours that morning while he heard the sounds of people sparring with each other. Letting his curiosity get the better of him, he went over to the training ground where the sounds were coming from to investigate what was going on. Upon arriving and hiding in the bushes, he saw Neji sparring with one of his teammates dressed in skin-tight green spandex and orange leg warmers with a bowl-like hairdo, and really fuzzy eyebrows. From what Naruto was seeing, Niji had the upper hand against the other boy. To the side were Tenten, the girl who has a secret major crush on the proclaimed Hyuga genius, and their sensei, Meito Gai, the resident taijutsu specialist and self-proclaimed beautiful blue beast as Naruto heard. After few minutes later, the fuzzy-browed boy was sent flying across the ground from a swing kick delivered to his chest. Niji stood there with his ever-arrogant smirk as he stood over his defeated teammate. "You can't beat me, Lee," Niji said, "the differences between us are rather obvious. You're nowhere near my level." Rock Lee scowled at this. "Shut up. I will beat you eventually. I'm sure of that." "Lee," Tenten started, "you're not a genius or prodigy like Niji, plus you're this year's dead last." "I really hate that label," Naruto thought to himself, "it's both demeaning and insulting." Guy sighed to himself between breaking up the developing argument and having his 3 students stand in attention. Naruto was about to walk off when "Naruto-san," Guy shouted, "the presence of your fires of youth has caught my senses. Come out and present yourself to us please." Naruto came out of the bushes and walked over to them. "Naruto-san," Guy greeted with his trademark smile, "the friend of my eternal rival and the one he speaks so highly of. What brings you here?" Scratching the back of his head and laughing nervously, Naruto said, "Sorry for eavesdropping. But I was coming from my morning jogging and exercising when I heard Niji and Lee sparring." "I see," Guy smiled, "so you do morning jogging and exercises also?" "All the time," Naruto replied. "Yosh," Guy cheered, "your fires of youth are of great inspirations to us Naruto. It is most honoring." Lee went over to Naruto and said, "Naruto-kun, I've heard all about your battle with the missing nin Uchiha prodigy named Itaki and his partner Kisame. Surely you knew that Itaki is a most dangerous traitor to Konoha." "I did," Naruto shrugged, "but that means nothing to me when my friends are in danger and I will do what I must to protect my friends and all those precious to me, even at the cost of my well-being. And I never go back on my word. That's my nindo." "Tell me please," Lee asked excitedly, "just how were you able to win against them? Perhaps I can learn something from this to improve my training." "Yes Naruto-sama," Niji stepped in seeking to find some information about Naruto's fighting style, in hopes of developing counter-attacks against them. "Tell us all, what was your strategy in defeating those missing nins?" "There's nothing to say," Naruto replied as he shrugged again, "except that being a lover and glutton for very hard work in my case pays off." Of all the countless excuses Naruto could have made up, that was by far the worst thing he said in the hearing ears of Guy and Lee. "Yosh," Guy shouted with enthusiasm with tears falling down his face, "the words of my eternal rival about Naruto-san rings bells of truth. The fires of youth shines strong in Naruto-san. He himself appreciates the fruit ages of being a genius of hard work like my student Lee." "Guy-sensei," Lee shouted with tears also falling down his face, "I will push myself harder as a genius of hard like Naruto-kun to become stronger. Only through hard work will I become a great shinobi and taijutsu expert. I will run 300 laps around Konoha before the end of the day. If I fail in doing that, I'll do 500 laps and 400 push-ups. Yosh. I will help you attain your dreams in becoming a great shinobi and taijutsu expert. I won't let you down. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. The two of them then engaged in a hug with tears still flowing down their faces and, logic be damned, with a sunset at the beach with crashing waves on the shores in the background. Naruto's right eye started twitching involuntarily at the scene, which he found rather disturbing. A genjutsu, Naruto thought, how on earth did that appear? I don't know how to explain that, Naruto, Minato answered, maybe you can ask Kurane. The genjutsu specialist, Naruto replied, I don't even think she would be able to explain this. Seeing the troubled look on his face, Tenten went over to Naruto and placed a consoling hand on his shoulder. He turned and looked at her as if she was saying, I feel your pain. Tell me they don't do this often, Naruto said with a voice that sounded like a plea. Tenten sighed, I wish they didn't do this at all. Niji scowled at the scene between his sensei and teammate before him before turning to look at Naruto, recalling the blonde's encounter with the infamous Itaki. The Hyuga genius knew that he himself was no match for Itachi, and his also knew that Hinata would have died had she tried to actually fight the traitorous Uchiha. However, Neji sought to make Hinata feel less than her worth about how she was kidnapped by Itachi, who was only trying to use her to draw Naruto out. While looking at the blonde, Neji couldn't help but wonder why Itachi of all people would seek out Naruto, who possesses no known bloodline limit of any sort. What makes him so special besides him being the son of Godame-sama, Neji wondered, and how was he able to hold his grounds against two S-class missing nins when he's not even an Umbu or Jounin, let alone a Genin? Naruto saw the look in Neji's face before the Hyuga boy looked away. Shrugging, Naruto turned, and saw Guy and Lee still engaged in the same hug as before. "I'll be on my way now," Naruto said as he hurriedly departed before a reply could be said to him. End flashback. Something like that ought to be outlawed, Naruto thought as he continued on his way to school. Naruto then thought about how Jiraiya made fun of him for days for what Sarutobi Hiruzen told him about the Clan Restorations Act. Tsunade, annoyed enough by her former teammate's behavior, gave him 3 painful lumps on his head before knocking him unconscious. Though Tsunade knew about the act, however, she wasn't in total agreement with it, especially since she didn't want Naruto to turn into a Jiraiya copy. Hiruzen though managed to discuss this issue with her, explaining everything he told Naruto but only in more details. Reluctantly, Tsunade agreed, even though she knew both Hinata and Ino like Naruto. While on his way to school, he walked past a dango shop and saw a familiar woman with purple hair in a pineapple hairstyle wearing a fishnet bodysuit and a mini skirt and tan trench coat eating some dangos. Naruto blushed upon remembering an incident that he unintentionally got himself into. Flashback, 5 months ago. Naruto was coming from his training with Jiraiya. He had already mastered the Shunshin no Jutsu and Raiznan with the use of Kage Bushin, a ninjutsu Yondaime explained to him how to perform. Months earlier Naruto learned and mastered using Kage Bushin, and now he uses Kage Bushin to form his Raiznan. Because of Kyuubi's chakra, Naruto is unable to form perfect Bushins, however he can create solid Bushins and train with them, thus strengthening his skills. Happy about the progress he was making, Naruto decided to stop by his favorite ramen shop to see Tuki and Ayamwen. "Hey," a woman shouted, "bring me some more of those dangos and don't be cheap with the sake." "Whatever, Anko," age 23, the waiter replied as he went to get her order. Meanwhile, outside, Naruto, turning to his left, went and entered the dango shop and saw Anko gulping down dangos after dangos with red bean soup and sake at the side at the table she was sitting at. Anko looked up and saw Naruto approaching her. "Hey Gaki," Anko greeted, "what do you want?" "A moment of your time if you will," Naruto answered. "Not interested," Anko retorted. "You didn't even let me ask you my questions," Naruto stated. Anko smirked at him, "Am I obligated to answer them in the first place?" "No but dash." "Then it's settled," Anko cut him off, "now get lost you stupid maggot." Naruto was annoyed with the older woman. Before he could say another word, the waiter came with another order of dangos and sake before setting them down on the table and walking off. Before Anko could partake of her food, Naruto jumped on the table and took the dango from her plate before crouching down to look her straight in the eyes. The older woman sent Naruto a death glare that promised hours of pain and suffering, while everyone else at the other tables moved away from the duo, especially those who knew what Anko was capable of doing to those who crossed her. Kiba, Ino, and Hinata felt the bloodlust that was coming from inside the shop and went to investigate it. The trio came upon a surprising sight. Naruto was crouching down on top of a table, fearlessly looking face to face with a female special jounin who was feared by almost everyone in Konoha, with her dango in his right hand. Kiba was on the verge of cracking up at Naruto's bravado while the girls looked at Naruto as if he lost his mind. "Gaki," Anko warned, "I'll give you one chance to live and give me back my dango." Removing and pulling his ninja mask down to his neck, Naruto shot back, "You don't scare me. I faced and seen things worse than you. And I'll leave when you at least answer a few questions I like to have answers to." "I'm warning you," Anko said threateningly, "give me back my dango or I'll dash." "Hey Naruto, what's up?" Kiba greeted loudly as he came and smacked Naruto hard on his back, effectively knocking him off the table and into the older woman, causing her to fall backward off her seat. Both Anko and Naruto fell and crashed onto the floor, landing down in a most inappropriate manner. Naruto was right on top of Anko with his lips hard pressed against hers and his tongue in her mouth, allowing him to sample the mixed taste of dango, bean soup, sake, and her saliva in her mouth. Both Naruto and Anko, blushing heavily, froze in shock, completely stupefied at what just happened though unintentional on both their parts. Hinata and Ino's eyes were as wide as dish plates as their mouths dropped like anvils upon seeing the sight. Kiba in the meantime was laughing with tears falling down his face while holding onto his sides. Even Akamaru snickered at the sight. After several seconds, Anko snapped out of her stupor and fiercely shoved Naruto off her before standing back on her feet. Naruto, snapping out his own stupor, got up off the floor in time to hear Anko shout, "I'll kill you." "Shit," Naruto cursed, taking her threat seriously as he took to flight and hurriedly ran out of the shop after putting his mask back on with a deranged Anko in hot pursuit of him with vipers coming out of the sleeves of her trench coat. Kiba was still cracking up at the event he instigated and witnessed before the cowering Akamaru jumped off and out of Kiba's jacket and running off from him while hoping his master will someday forgive his betrayal. That was when Kiba sensed a whole new strong bloodlust radiating from inside the shop. Slowly and fearfully, he turned to see an extremely pissed-off Hinata with her Byakugan fully activated, giving off a bloodlust that would have shamed Sakura and any other Sasuke fangirl. Next to her was an enormously enraged Ino was cracking her knuckles while giving off a bloodlust matching Hinata's. The boy paled and gulped in terror as the girls looked at him. "Oh Kiba," Hinata said with a deceptively sweet voice as she gestured to him to come over to them, "Ino and I would like to have a few words with you." It was now Kiba's turn to dash out of the shop as Hinata and Ino chased after him like two hunters out for blood. Naruto and Kiba found themselves being chased by females, for different reasons. For Naruto, for the first time, it was by a female seeking his death for something they both knew he didn't do on purpose, and Kiba, for destroying Hinata and Ino's competing chances of giving Naruto his first kiss and having him get it from the crazy Anko who now wants him dead. All of the bystanders looked at Naruto with sympathy as he ran down the village streets, wondering what dumb prank was he stupid enough to pull on the infamous torture and interrogation specialist of all people. "Get your ass back here," Anko yelled as she continued chasing him. "Hell no," Naruto yelled back before ducking from one of her vipers that dashed to bite him, "You're a damn lunatic." "A lunatic am I? You're so dead you perverted brat. It wasn't my fault. And I'm not a pervert." Naruto managed to escape Anko's wrath after running into Jiraiya and Kakashi. Naruto hid behind the two of them while Anko demanded they hand him over to her so she could deal out his just-deserved death sentence. Kakashi asked Anko why she was willing to invoke Tsunade's wrath upon herself, trying to kill her son for something he didn't do on purpose. The part about Tsunade's retaliation served to gradually calm Anko down, allowing her sense of reasoning to take control. Kakashi explained that he saw what happened and stated that Naruto had no intentions for doing what he did when one of his friends stupidly pushed him into her on purpose as his sense of a practical joke. Summoning the vipers back into her trench coat sleeves, Anko grumbled to herself as she turned and stomped off away from the trio, probably back to work to find a poor victim to release her anger on. When she was out of hearing and seeing range, Kakashi and Jiraiya shuffled Naruto's head and laughed. "I have to hand it to you Naruto," Jiraiya applauded, "you have more balls than I ever gave you credit for. I never in my wildest dreams thought that you'd score your first kiss with a woman like Anko in the shameless manner that you did and not with a girl your age. With fake sniffles, it makes me so proud." "Shut up Ero-jisan," Naruto replied with a heavy blush on his face, "I didn't mean to do that and you both know that." "Be that as it may," Kakashi teased, "but I myself would have never suspected that Anko's first real kiss would have been shared with a kid like you. My hat's off to you Naruto." Naruto blushed even more on hearing this. "Knock it off. It was a pure accident." "Was that why you enjoyed the feel of her barely covered body and the feeling of being on top of her as the dominant alpha male since she had to shove you off her?" Kakashi teased. "I'm sure she enjoyed it as much as you did though she might not admit it." "Getting the clan restoration act to an early start are we?" Jiraiya joked, causing both Kakashi and to burst into perverted laughter while Naruto hung his head low, knowing that this was another issue, besides the clan restoration act, that Jiraiya and Kakashi would never let him hear the end of. "I think I was better off with that crazy lady trying to kill me," Naruto mumbled to himself. End flashback. From what Naruto recalled that same day from Shizuan, Kiba was admitted into the hospital after being found heavily beaten and left unconscious at the hospital doors under mysterious circumstances. When Kiba was asked who attacked him, he said that he didn't have time to get a good look at them to identify his attackers. Naruto knew he was lying, but figured that for Kiba's own well-being and health it was safe for him to plead amnesia. Though he fully recovered, Kiba made a mental note to never cross Hinata and Ino in any way that involved Naruto and would provoke that same result. Later that same week, Naruto recalled, he remembered asking Kakashi for information about that particular crazy woman. Kakashi was tempted to tease him again about it, but Naruto said that he's seen the way she's been continuously mistreated by the villages for reason he couldn't understand. He told Kakashi that he heard many of the harsh and cruel names they called her, from snake whore, bitch sadist, traitor, serpent, the list goes on, though he could partly understand the serpent part to a degree. Naruto wanted to know why the villagers hated her so much though she's clearly a fellow Konoha like them. Naruto said that when he tried to approach her that day in order to get the information directly from her, Kiba pushed him into her which caused that incident to happen. Seeing the sincerity in his eyes, Kakashi told Naruto some things he knew about her. He explained that her name is Mitarashi Anko, a special jounin in the interrogation department under Marino Ibuki's supervision, who happens to be another special jounin. The Umbu captain then explained that Anko was a former apprentice of Orochimaru, another worst and most hated traitor and snake son-in of Konoha who was caught doing horrific and illegal experimentations on fellow shinobis, men, women, and children of Konoha, and on Anko as well. He also told him that Orochimaru was seeking to unlock the secret to immortality, which was expressly taboo in the shinobi world. Those were among the many reasons why Orochimaru lost the candidacy in becoming Yondaime Hokage, Kakashi explained. Since Orochimaru's defect and disappearance from Konoha, Anko became among the most unpopular, hated and feared figures in the entire village and that only a handful of people like Kurane, Sandaime, himself and a few others see her as a fellow Konoha and not as a traitor or representation of Orochimaru. Naruto couldn't help but feel bad about the type of life Anko is forced to live, even though Kakashi told him that she brushes everyone off and tells her harassers to piss off. Naruto made some attempts to befriend Anko, going as far as apologizing for the kiss incident, even though he did secretly enjoyed it and wouldn't openly admit it. At first, Anko found his offer of friendship as his idea of a joke since she remembered her encounter with Naruto that was still fresh in her memory, along with the fact that Kakashi and Ibuki teased her about it a few times much to her aggravation. However, she saw that he was being serious about being friends with her in spite of her reputation, which shocked her to no end since every parent in the village always pulled their children away from her as though she was the walking plague or a curse. Not wanting to lose the opportunity to make another friend, Anko accepted on the basis that they were starting on an acquaintance level. Anko looked up from her plate of dangos and saw Naruto staring at her while he zoned out. "What are you staring at, Kaki?" Anko smirked, causing Naruto to snap out his train of thoughts before he waving her goodbye and walking off to continue on his way to the academy. While going on his way, he turned and looked back at the Hokage monument that now had Tsunade's face on it, right next to Minato's. Ironic really, Naruto thought, father and mother, Yondaime and Godaime, side by side together in all their glory facing the city. Or that was supposed to be the case had it not been for a certain incident. Flashback, a week ago. Naruto was returning back to Konoha with Jiraiya after a 3-month absence. 3 months ago, Tsunade signed an official document that was given to Iruka and the academy headmaster explaining Naruto's leave of absence and his return before the Genin exam. The document however didn't mention Naruto's training sessions with Jiraiya, but mentioned some special educating he was going to undergo outside of Konoha for a while. Though she was reluctant to let him leave however, she knew that it was for the best since he requested that he leave the village for a short while and see new things while continuing his training with Jiraiya. Jiraiya and Naruto approached the two jounins who standing at their post by the towering doors leading into the village. Naruto though noticed that the Hokage monument now had his mother's face on it. That was when a fox-like smile formed on his face. "State your name and business here," the first jounin said. Jiraiya snorted at this and said, "What do you mean? There are 2 of us standing in front of you guys and you both should know who we are by now." "It's just protocols, Jiraiya-sama," the second jounin said, "but either your companion is invisible or he or she was sent to the next life." Jiraiya tuned to see that Naruto was no longer with him. Damn! Where did that Gaki disappear to? Jiraiya ran past the Jounin guards and started his search for Naruto. He at first thought that he'd head for his favorite ramen stand Ichiraku, but he was surprised to see that he hadn't appeared there at all. Ayam, age 16, and her father told Jiraiya to tell Naruto to come and greet them later after he was found. Later at the Hokage Tower, Tsunade was in her office taking a break from her paperwork. Opening the drawer of her desk, she pulled out a bottle of sake in a small cup and poured herself a drink. She was happy that her little Naru-chan was coming home today. Sure, he kept in touch with her, but that didn't replace the thought of seeing him in person and hugging him. She sipped her drink merrily. Tsunade-sama. The slug Sunin spewed her drink out before seeing Shizune and several other Jounins behind her rushing into the office. What is it? Tsunade barked loudly and indignantly. It's an emergency, Shizune said, the Hokage monument. Someone is vandalizing it in paint. Sighing, Tsunade got up from off her seat and head out of the office to the roof of the Hokage Tower with Shizune and the other Jounins following after her. Upon reaching outside, their ears came to hear loud fits of laughter coming from the villagers and other ninjas. Tsunade and Shizune with the other Jounins stood on the roof and looked over at the Hokage monument to see what it was that got everyone in an uproar of laughter. Needless to say, the Godame's eyes widened upon seeing the condition the monument was now in. Painted next to the face of Senju Hashirama, the Shodame was a large graffiti of a Ika Paradise book with a hormonal half-naked Kunoichi being chased by a horny half-dressed shinobi. This was followed by the face of the Shodame being painted in a way that made him appear to be scowling at the book. Senju Tobirama, the Nidame, his face was painted in a way to make you think he was sweat dropping at the sight of the book. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was painted in a way that made him the way he used to look like when he was much younger. However, there was redness painted on his cheeks, making it seem that he was blushing from the sight of the book as he looked away. Namikaze Minato's face was painted in a fashion that made him look like he was annoyed at Hiruzen's facial expression. Finally, Tsunade's face was painted beautifully, making her look like an authentic geisha, however she was painted in a way to make her look completely appalled at the book. The sight of the graffiti representing that adult series alone being painted at the side of the monument was enough to make Tsunade's blood boil. Hiruzen, who was also on the roof, was also cracking up with several others at the scene he was seeing, knowing only one person had the audacity to pull something like this off. The culprit of this offense, whose face was completely masked from sight, was still standing on the scaffold of the monument. The offender boasted, "Am I not a genius of expression? You're in a world of trouble." "That's what you're in," Tsunade loudly retorted before she ordered the Jounins to apprehend the culprit and bring him before her. Complying, the Jounins went in pursuit of the culprit, who suddenly took off his mask and revealed himself. "Naruto!" Tsunade yelled. "Oh," Naruto said as he speedily jumped off the scaffold and jumped from roof to roof the house near the monument before landing on the streets, commencing a chase between him and the Jounins after him. "Naruto!" yelled one of the Jounins, "what the hell have you done? You're not going to get away with this." Naruto speedily started jumping from roof to roof as the Jounins continued yelling and chasing after him. "Ha ha! Oh, shut the hell up already," Naruto said, "none of you, and I mean no one, can stoop to this level of low. But I can, 'cause I'm the greatest." The Jounins continued their pursuit, not realizing that Naruto gave them the slip with a camouflaging sheet. That was too easy, Naruto smiled brightly. However, this was short-lived when Oigaki-eth. Naruto jumped and turned to see Jiraiya standing behind him with a serious expression. "What was that for?" Naruto barked. "Arrow-jisen." "You have an interesting way of announcing your return," Jiraiya retorted, before smiling lecherously, "though I like the idea of you advertising my book for me, and on the Hokage monument of all places. Gaki, you have my utmost respects. And my wrath to go along with it." Both Naruto and Jiraiya turned to see a fuming Tsunade running after them at lightning speed. "Oh crap!" Naruto and Jiraiya panicked before running away from her in fear for their safety. End flashback. Luckily, the monument didn't need any actual cleanup, since it turned out that the paints Naruto used were vanishing paints that would only last for 2 hours before completely crumpling away, returning the monument back to its original glory. In spite of this, Tsunade had Naruto clean the side of the monument that had her face on it. She was upset that Naruto pulled such a juvenile stunt and not allowing her to give him the welcome back she wanted to give him. Still, she was happy that Naruto came back from his absence unharmed and in one piece. Jiraiya though had to hide from Tsunade for a while since she wanted to inflict some serious injuries on him for corrupting her son and making him into a pervert. Hiruzen and many others though thought that the stunt Naruto pulled was a well-needed prank since the village had been awfully quiet and a bit dull without his mischief going around giving everyone something to laugh and cheer at. It also served to scrutinize their security seeing how Naruto was able to pull off such a major prank right under their noses without alerting everyone that he was back. Naruto, finally realizing that he was going to be late, now started running to the academy. At the academy, Shikamaru, Kiba, Sakura, and everyone else were already there as Iruka started the session. He looked around and saw that everyone was accounted for, everyone but one person. You'd think that as Rookie of the Year he'd be here first if not on time for something as important as this, Iruka said, "Where is Naruto?" As if on cue the door opened and closed behind the boy who entered the class. "Hey Iruka-sensei," Naruto greeted, "sorry I'm late. I lost my way on memory lane." He's becoming as tacky as Kakashi, Iruka thought before studying Naruto's new appearance like everyone else. Needless to say, the Chunin was shocked at how Naruto now looks like, or more like who Naruto now looks like. Naruto turned to the body of students and was greeted by everyone staring at his new appearance. He saw how the girls were practically gawking at him with hearts in their eyes, seeing that this was their first time to ever see his face without that ninja mask and that his long hair and new clothes makes him like a junior Yondaime Hokage. Sakura even blushed at the sight of him when. "Don't stare at him like some stupid Naruto fangirl," inner Sakura scolded, "he's just dressing up like that to show off for achieving the status as Rookie of the Year to make Sasuke-kun jealous." Sakura seemed to have accepted that reasoning, as she pulled her eyes away from Naruto and over to Sasuke, who appeared to be frowning at the appearance Naruto gave himself. Making himself look like Yondaime, Sasuke thought, if that idiot has a death wish, all he had to do was dress in a bright orange jumpsuit that screamed "Here I am. Kill me." Kiba and Chuji gave Naruto 2 thumbs up while Shikamaru thought Blonde's new appearance was just troublesome. Shino just nodded his head to Naruto in acknowledgement. Ino and Hinata both smiled and blushed at the sight of him before glaring at the other girls staring dreamily at him. 2 days earlier they frowned at him for the stunt he pulled on the Hokage monument in putting graffiti of Ika Ika Paradise next to the monument. But they eventually forgave him and right they were thinking about how his new looks made him look as handsome as his father before telling themselves that he looks even better. Naruto went and took his regular seat between Ino and Hinata. "Oh, ohio nna, Naruto-kun," Hinata stuttered shyly for the first in a long while. "I love your new looks," Ino praised, "it makes you look really sexy." "Yeah yes Naruto-kun," Hinata said as she shyly fidgeted her 2 index fingers together, "your new style is most charming." "Thanks," Naruto blushed, "I was saving these clothes until I became a genin." "But they make you look more like a jounin instead of a genin," Sakura said, "isn't that illegal?" "Shut up forward," Ino barked in Naruto's defense, "don't get me started about talking about your idea of fashion." "Mind your own business Ino pig," Sakura shot back. "Forward. Ino pig. Forward. Knock it off," Iruka yelled silencing the 2 girls. Sakura and Ino stuck their tongues out at each other before looking away from each other. Naruto and Hinata sweated dropped at time, as did Iruka. "I see now why Naruto always hid his face underneath that mask," Iruka sighed before grabbing everyone's attention again for his final lecture to them as their sensei. While giving his speech about life as a shinobi, Naruto's mind zoned out, remembering the incident that took place 3 days ago. The traitorous Chunin Mizuki tried to trick him into stealing the forbidden scroll of sealing, telling him that he could go beyond being a mere Rookie of the Year and attain real powers through the use of that scroll no one is allowed to read. Naruto pretended to buy into it, before informing Tsunade about it and staging Mizuki's arrest. That same night, Tsunade gave Naruto a scroll covered with a genjutsu to look exactly like the forbidden scroll before he ran off to meet Mizuki at the designated location. Mizuki arrived at the scene and attempted to steal the forbidden scroll from Naruto, before Iruka and a team of Chiyunins and Jounins arrived surrounded the two. The forbidden scroll was dispelled to reveal a different and smaller scroll, which was actually a warrant for Mizuki's arrest and a documentation for him to be brought to Ibiki for interrogation. Mizuki put up a fight, but being outnumbered and outmatched, the fight was short-lived. Naruto could only wonder what horrors Mizuki had to face while in Ibiki's custody. A moment later Irika finally got to the part everyone was waiting for, team pairings and the Jounin instructors. Chapter 17, Elite Genin. 2 days earlier, at the Hokage Tower. Tsunade was sitting at her desk with her elbow resting on the desk as her hand held her head up. She was beside herself in frustration as Kakashi, Kurane, and Asuma argued over a particular issue. "Tsunade-sama," Kakashi said, "all I'm saying is that I would be best suited as a Jounin instructor for Naruto. Unlike Kurane and Asuma, I've known Naruto for the longest time and I know his strengths and weaknesses, therefore I would know how to assist in his training and strengthening his abilities. And since Naruto is a most advanced genin, he would also be a great asset in aiding in the training and developments of his fellow genins." Kakashi, Kurane countered, "You already have the Uchiha Prodigy, the second best of this year's genin class, on your genin cell. Having Naruto placed on your team would not only throw the academic balance off but it would demonstrate unfair favoritism. Plus many Jounins are aware that you spoil Naruto and there's no doubt that you'll give him more attention than the others. Naruto would do well should I be allowed to have him on my genin cell." "And what reasons would you have for that?" Kakashi challenged. Kurane replied, "I've seen firsthand how Hinata have gradually changed from the way she used to be because of her association with Naruto. Before, she was always too timid and hesitant to give her all. Also she used to get depressed really fast and allowed whatever negativity others said and thought of her get to her. But over the course of time, Hinata, through association and friendship with Naruto, managed to break through those hindrances and gradually mold herself into the person she worked so hard to become. Even Hayashi and the main house of the Hyuga clan have acknowledged her changes. So you solely intend to use Naruto as a means to give Hinata a motivational boost?" Kakashi asked. "Of course not," Kurane retorted, "that wouldn't be fair on my part. Since his genjutsu abilities aren't as strong as his ninjutsu and taijutsu, I can do well in training him in that field." "Kurane," Asuma interjected, "unlike you and Kakashi, Naruto's elemental affinity is wind like myself. Therefore I would be a great asset in training him and developing his elemental affinity and teaching him how to use it in combat." "Asuma," Kakashi countered, "you're the most laid back among the Jounins and that wouldn't do well for Naruto's development." The argument continued among the three Jounins. Kakashi recently stepped down from Umbu captain to Jounin since he was the only person capable of teaching Sasuke how to use the Sharingan. Tsunade saw how each Jounin had reasons for wanting her son on their genin cell. In all honesty, she never expected that the topic of her son being placed on the genin cell would have caused so much trouble. As the argument continued, her patience was slowly declining. After several more minutes, Tsunade was about to say something to end the dispute when the door to her office opened, revealing Sarutobi, Homura and Koharu entering the office. The three Jounins stopped arguing after seeing the Sandaime and his two former teammates entering the room with a few documents in their hands. "It's clear that a dispute of some sort has occurred here," Sarutobi said, stating the obvious. "My son is the topic at hand," Tsunade sighed. "Evidently these three have a difference as to why one of them ought to be Naruto's Jounin instructor." "I see," Sandaime said, "in all accounts, Homura, Koharu, and I have studied the records of this year's genins and reviewed them carefully. Based on what the three of us reviewed, there will be a few minor changes and adjustments, which we will discuss with all of you in detail right now." "What adjustments and changes will occur, Sarutobi-sensei?" Tsunade inquired. "For starters," Sarutobi said, "Naruto will be dash." The following day, Anko was summoned into the Hokage office for a new assignment. From what she was told, it was an important one. As she made her way to the office, she pasted a gleeful smile on her face, expecting a very dangerous mission that had to be done. "I wonder what my mission will be," Anko thought excitedly, "an A-rank mission in another village. Possibly even an S-rank mission in hunting down a missing nin. Being promoted to Umbu and assigned to a secret mission. Oh, the possibilities. I can't wait." Anko entered the office to see Tsunade and Sandaime waiting for her in the office. "Anko," Sandaime greeted, "how nice of you to arrive here a little earlier than expected." Tsunade-sama said that she had an assignment for me that was most important, Anko explained, so I came as soon as I could to say that I accept the mission. Both Tsunade and Sarutobi blinked on hearing this. Anko, Tsunade said questionably, don't you at least want to know what the assignment entails before deciding to accept it? I already said I accept whatever important mission it is, Anko stated, I give you my word. So out with it already. Alright, Tsunade said as she handed Anko the folder, but remember, I'm holding you to your word. Anko took the folder from Tsunade and reviewed the documents in it. To say that her expression came to a crash would have been an understatement. You can't be serious, Anko exclaimed in disbelief, you can't expect me to dash. You already accepted the assignment Anko and you're being held to your word, Tsunade sternly interjected, perhaps next time you'd do better to hear the assignment out first. But, Anko mentally slapped herself several times for setting her hopes up too high. Her new assignment wasn't what she had in mind at all. Why don't you take the time to review the files in that folder, Sandaime suggested, you'll find them quite interesting. The special Jounin sighed to herself knowing that she placed herself into a position that was now too late to go back on. She left the office with the folder in hand and closed the door behind her while grumbling unintelligent utterances. When she was out of the office, Tsunade turned to her former sensei and asked, are you sure it was a wise decision to assign Anko that assignment? Anko is the only special Jounin with the capacity to see that assignment through, Sandaime said, plus, judging from what I've observed from their earlier interactions, she could use the companionship. Present time. Naruto looked around the class as he studied a couple of the genins in the class. His eyes fell on Sasuke, the remaining Uchiha who was driven by his hatred and rage to surpass his infamous brother. Naruto couldn't deny that Sasuke had done very well in physical and book work. The young Uchiha's abilities were known throughout Konoha, as well as his rivalry with Godaime's son. Sasuke was viewed as the implantation to a fading clan. Many pitied him, yet admired him for his strength. The blonde then turned his attention to the pink-haired genin obsessed with Sasuke, this being Sakura, the girl who he admitted has an unbelievable mind. Sakura constantly received high marks on written exams throughout the year, her physical exams however at best were average. Moving on, Naruto turned his eyes to Shikamaru, a genin who is a master strategist and a brilliant thinker. Naruto accepted Shikamaru's ability in creating strategies as unmatched, however his reputation as a lazy bum corresponds his genius status. Going to the next genin, the blonde shinobi looked over at Shino, who is a quiet and stoic boy, and according to rumor, is considered a genius in logic within his own clan. Meanwhile, Sasuke meditated on the puzzle that was Naruto. The young Uchiha prided himself in his abilities as a shinobi, and to have Naruto, the village comedian, academically outdo him, the Uchiha genius, shamed him. As a shinobi, Sasuke understood that information about the enemy was an essential part of battle. He would need to find out more about Naruto, he concluded. Everyone was happy to finally be out of the academy. It meant that they were adults now, and that they would never have to sit around anymore listening to boring lectures about life as a ninja or what weapons one can use in the battlefield. They would be doing adventurous missions and saving people's lives now. Naruto smiled on at all of the new friends and potential allies he had made during the past few years, proud of their achievements. That old geezer was right, Naruto thought, attending the academy had its advantages in spite of my advanced abilities. Listen carefully as I read out your designated teams and your Jounin instructors, Iruka said as he looked at all of genins as they quietly waited for him to continue. Sakura was hoping to be placed on Sasuke's team while Ino and Hinata were both hoping to be paired with Naruto. Shikamaru had a bored expression while Chuji was munching on potato chips. Sasuke simply crossed his arms in disinterest, thinking that whomever is to be paired with him will only serve to slow him down in his desired goals to make advancements to defeat Naruto and ultimately kill Itachi. Iruka announced the pairings of the other teams and eventually got to the 7th. Team 7 will be Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Sai, this year's dead last since he started attending the academy later than usual. Your Jounin instructor will be Heitake Kakashi. Sakura practically jumped off her seat shouting happily and yelling things like true love prevails. Some of the girls were disappointed that they didn't get paired with Sasuke, however some of the other girls were hoping to be paired with this year's Rookie of the Year, Naruto. I wasn't paired with Sasuke, Naruto thought, I should have seen that one coming, though I wish I could have had Kakashi Aizen. At least I won't have to put up with someone who takes pleasure in calling me dope when he knows I'm anything but that. Naruto-kun hasn't been paired with anyone yet, Ino thought happily, that means I still have a chance to be on his team. Hinata was thinking on the same line as Ino when Team 8 will be Abarame Shino, Inyazuka Kiba, and Hyuga Hinata. Your Jounin instructor will be Ui Kurane. Shino looked indifferent while Kiba was a bit nervous about Hinata being on his team, especially after he recalled what she and Ino did to him after the prank he pulled on Naruto and Anko. Hinata though looked completely dejected as if her whole world came to a crash. Does this mean I won't get to work with Naruto-kun? Hinata thought sadly while on the verge of tears. Naruto saw the look on Hinata's face. He saw that she was really hoping to be paired with him, and in truth he was really hoping that was going to happen. He was really disappointed at this. Damn it, Naruto thought, I was really setting my hopes up that it was going to be me, Hina-chan, and Team 9 is still active as a team of genins. Therefore, the new Team 10 will be Nara Shikamaru, Akimichi Chuji, Yamanaka Ino. Your Jounin instructor will be Asuma Sarutobi. Woo-hey-hey-hey-hey-ah, Naruto thought angrily. Two of the girls he wanted to be paired with were paired with other teams. Ino's head slumped down just as sad as Hinata's. Ino didn't know whether to cry or burst out and yell at Iruka. This isn't fair, Ino and Hinata thought, both wanting to be paired with the son of Yondaime. Shikamaru and Chuji grinned at each other, seeing that they were teamed together. Sakura gets to be on the same team with the guy she's crazy for, Inner Ino yelled, and I'm denied the privilege to be paired with the guy I really like. It's so not fair. Naruto looked around and realized something. Iruka-sensei, Naruto spoke as calmly as possible while trying to hold his own anger inside of himself, why wasn't my team announced? Well Naruto, Iruka explained, according to this, you weren't assigned to any genin team. What the hell, Naruto said in outrage. All of the genins were surprised about this revelation. Naruto, not knowing what else to use to release his rage on, pulled his hair together from the back before pulling out a kunao and with one strong swipe, slashing off the long hair from his head. Everyone was shocked and speechless as Naruto's unexpected action. Slamming the sliced off hair down on his desk, he stood up indignantly, why the hell wasn't I assigned to a genin team? Let me explain, Iruka sighed. Normally the best in the graduating class is paired with the dead last of the class in order to balance the teams out. However, based on what the Hokage was willing to explain to me, she said that Sasuke is to be your replacement as the best genin on Team 7. Naruto was doing his best to control his indignation as he held his kunao tightly. Sasuke however had a most rare wide grin on his face, making Sakura and his other fangirls look at him dreamily. I always knew that in time you'd be seen as the dead last that you are Naruto, Sasuke mocked arrogantly, in fact you're worst. At least the real dead last was given a team. I can't believe that what befell you just now came at a most fitting occasion. Naruto looked at Sasuke with a tempting desire to throw the kunao at Sasuke's direction when. Don't lose your temper Naruto, Yondaime warned, it's exactly what that fool is trying to get you to do. Don't stoop to his level. I'm very sure that Tsunade has a very good reason for this unexpected arrangement. She is the Hokage and knowing her, she wouldn't do anything without first looking at everything from every angle possible. It would be in your best interest to discuss the matter with her and not do something reckless that you'd later regret. Don't give Sasuke the satisfaction of getting a desired reaction out of you. Those words from his sealed father served to calm Naruto down as he placed his kunao back in its compartment in his pants. The anger once present on Naruto's face cooled down as he took a couple of breaths to calm himself down. Hinata and Ino looked at Sasuke with contempt. They couldn't understand what Sakura and the other girls saw in that jerk. Was there anything else you were told Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked with coolness. Iruka was surprised that Naruto managed to calm down and not retaliate against Sasuke who insulted him openly in front of the class. Kiba and the rest of the students were expecting Naruto to lash out against Sasuke who insinuated that his mother finally saw her son as the idiot he always is. They were amazed that he did the complete opposite of what they expected him to do. He managed to steam his anger enough to allow reasoning to take effect. It's surprising seeing the situation, seeing Naruto's calming demeanor, Iruka continued, the Hokage explained that you'll be given a different kind of training as the first elite genin of the graduation class of genins. Naruto now had a surprised and puzzled expression on his face. The grin on Sasuke's face vanished on hearing that title given to Naruto. Elite genin? Sasuke asked. That's right, Iruka replied. Based on Naruto's records and assessment, he was given the new elite genin title and his training will be discussed with him with the Hokage after the other genin teams were assigned. The class couldn't believe what they were hearing and neither could Sasuke, who now looked outraged by this. How come Naruto gets special training and not Sasuke or anyone else? Sakura asked. Is it because he's Tsunade-sama's son? No, Sakura, Iruka replied sternly. Such favoritism would not be tolerated by this village's shinobi standards. It was a recommendation made by 2 village advisors and Sandaime-sama after they evaluated Naruto's and everyone else's records here. All of you were selected and assigned to specific specialized teams based on your capabilities, which your Jounin instructors will explain to you all in more detail after they arrive here a little later today. Is there more for us to know? Naruto asked. Iruka looked at the young genin and simply smiled at the blonde-haired kid, as he had unknowingly wormed his way into the teacher's once hardened heart. Naruto didn't gloat about his own accomplishments or that he outdid Sasuke, and he wasn't egotistical. For them, yes, Iruka smiled, but as for you, you may leave now to discuss your new training with the Hokage in person. There's nothing more for me to tell you except good luck and congratulations on receiving the honorary title as Elite Genin. Believe me when I say that you've earned it, Naruto. Thank you, Naruto said as he left his desk and started walking from his desk towards the door. The class watched as Naruto calmly exited the class before closing the door behind him and leaving his cut-off hair on his desk. After he left the classroom, one of the girls in the class, remembering the slashed-off hair Naruto left behind, said, "I want Naruto's beautiful golden locks." The girl rose off her seat and ran to grab the pile of hair on the desk when another girl came up and attempted to grab the slashed blonde hair. "Hands off, hussy. They're mine." "No, they're mine," a third girl yelled as they and a couple of other girls minus Sakura, Ino, and Hinata started arguing about who gets to keep Naruto's once long hair. Sasuke looked at the bickering girls in disgust, wondering how females like them ever made it as genins. He was surprised that neither Hinata or Ino started arguing with the other girls about keeping something as useless as Naruto's hair. Iruka and the other boys in the classroom sweat dropped at the scene. "Fangirls are so troublesome," Shikamaru commented. "They argue and fight over the most trivial of nonsense." "That's just stupid," Inner Sakura said. "I can't believe they're fighting over something as dumb as Naruto's hair. Now if it were Sasuke's hair, then that would have been something worth fighting over and winning." At the Hokage Tower, Tsunade was doing some paperwork when "Kaa-chan," Naruto said as he entered the office with Shizune behind him. Tsunade looked up from her desk to see her son looking at her with a straight face. She was taken by surprise to see that his hair was cut short by a razor of some sort, although a bit sloppily. "What happened to your hair?" Tsunade asked. "I was in need of a new style after coming from the academy," came Naruto's reply. "I take it that you found out that you weren't assigned to a genin team," Tsunade said. "That's for sure," Naruto retorted. "If anything, I was really hoping to be paired with either Hinata or Ino. In truth, I was hoping to have been teamed with both of them." Tsunade sighed as they rubbed her temples. She suspected that Naruto was going to react like this. "Naruto," Tsunade said calmly, "I know that you're upset at me and Sandaime-sama for not assigning you to a genin team, but you must see the bigger picture." Naruto knew his mother. She only uses his full name when she's about to discuss something of high importance or if he was being scolded for something. Since he wasn't being scolded, he saw that whatever she was going to say was important. "Yes, Kaa-chan," Naruto asked calmly, "what's this bigger picture, seeing that I'm in the dark about all this? I would like to be enlightened, please." Tsunade, happy that her son was rational, explained. Sarutobi-sensei and his 2 former teammates assisted in arranging the genin teams. Seeing the students who graduated at the academy this year, he, Homura, Koharu and I divided them in a way to create specialized teams of ninjas. Team 7 is to be specialized as an attack unit, Team 8 is to be specialized as a reconnaissance unit, and Team 10 is to be specialized as an investigation unit. "That's logical," Naruto admitted, "but what about this elite genin title I was given?" "For one thing," Tsunade made clear, you're not an ordinary genin like the rest of them. You're the elite genin at Sunin level and you're too advanced and experienced for them. They wouldn't be able to keep up with you and you would have ended up having to slow down drastically for them to keep up. Something like that would hinder you greatly in your own development. Couldn't I in some way assisted in their training if I were assigned to one of their teams? Naruto asked. That's what Kakashi argued about, Tsunade said. He, Kurane and Asuma were here in my office 2 days earlier arguing over who'd have you in their genin cell. They had their own reasons as to why one of them should have you in their team, though I have to admit that some of their reasoning was quite appealing. In truth, Naru-chan, you can pretty much fit into any of the genin cell divisions. Still, Sarutobi-sensei and I had something else in mind for you than for you to perform the same genin level training you've already completed years earlier, which would be both a waste of time and productivity. Naruto remained silent as he listened. Seeing that her son wasn't arguing, Tsunade continued, aside the earlier reasons why Ino and Hinata were assigned to different teams, those two girls need to be focused on training to become the next generation of Kunoichis of Konoha. Were they to have been paired with you, they would have been too sidetracked in trying to develop a romance with you, seeing that they know who you are and what your responsibilities are as the last Namikaze. And don't act like you haven't noticed how they've been behaving around you over the past year. I can vouch for that, Shizune said, speaking up for the first time after a long period of silence. Those two girls have been seen almost everywhere with you, Naruto. You make it sound like a bad thing, Naruto joked. Shizune cleared her throat. It's not that, Naruto Tauto. But Tsunade-sama, Sandaime-sama and I have taken this matter into careful consideration for everyone's benefits. Both Ino and Hinata have to be balanced in the time they spend with you and devote some of their energy and resources in honing their skills as ninjas and working with others. Also, it'll allow them to develop and strengthen their familial jutsus. I honestly can't argue with that point, Naruto said. Tsunade spoke. Plus Kurane was the one who especially requested to have Hinata on her genin team. I expected this, seeing how Kurane has always been a mother figure to Hinata. Naruto was well aware of this fact since he's seen how often Kurane came around the Hyuga mansion and trained Hinata. I'm sure that there could have been another female jounin who could have helped Hinata out in that department, Naruto said. Maybe, but Kurane was very adamant on it, Tsunade retorted, and speaking of female jounins, one particular jounin was assigned to you. And who would that be? Naruto inquired, and as if on cue, the office door opened and entered was a most familiar female figure who smiled her trademark grin. Anko-chan, Naruto said. Nice to see you too, Gaki, Anko said. Looks like we're going to be spending more time together, little man. I'm not little, Naruto retorted, and it'll be wise for you not to underestimate me like Itachi. Anko wanted to go up to him and whack him across the head, but she didn't want to risk her safety with Tsunade being present in the room. Naruto, Tsunade said, although you are not on a 3-man genin cell, you will however be assigned to work with teams 7, 8, and 10 from time to time doing D and C rank missions. Your training though will be different from theirs. How so? Naruto inquired. I'll explain that, Anko spoke. In reviewing your records, I've acknowledged that since you were 8 years old you had a habit in setting up excellent pranks on many of the Chiryunins, Jounins, and some of the Umbu, and with methods of escaping from them. You still have that habit and it's common knowledge to everyone in the village. Where are you getting it? Naruto asked. Where I'm getting it, Anko explained, is that you have a gift in infiltration, setting up traps against unsuspecting shinobis of various levels, and you're a very good escape artist. I would like to assist you in developing those skills of yours. They could be most useful when battling enemy ninjas. Alongside this, Shizune interjected, Tsunade-sama recommended that since you are also training as a medic nin that you start training at the hospital as well, working alongside me in the operating and examination rooms. So basically I have 2 female jounins to work with, Naruto interpreted, but how will I be able to do all those things? Don't you think that's a bit much? I figured you'd say that, Naruto, spoke an aged voice filled with experience. Everyone turned to see Sandaime and Jiraiya enter the room before closing the door behind him. Oiji-san, Eroji-san, Naruto greeted. Sandaime said, we're happy to see you too, Naruto. I'm sure that by now they've explained to you about the type of training you'll be undergoing, and I'm sure that it sounds rather overwhelming. But I know of a method that can help you as you train with both Shizune and Anko. What would that be? The blonde asked. Make a Kage Bushin and I'll have Jiraiya demonstrate it, Yondaime said. Doing as he was told, Naruto created a Kage Bushin in the exactly likeness of himself. Anko was shocked at seeing this. He's able to perform a Jounin-level Kinjutsu, Anko asked in surprise. To the others in the room, this was common knowledge. Yes Anko, Yondaime answered, unlike most ninjas, Naruto possesses massive quantities of chakra and is unable to create regular Bushins. His chakra however allows him to perform higher rank jutsus. If someone else his age learned that jutsu, they might be able to create 2 if not 3 Kage Bushins before losing consciousness due to chakra exhaustion. But Naruto can create dozens without looking even the slightest bit tired. Anko said nothing more as she processed the information, though she found it hard to swallow. Is this kid supposed to be Ataka's replacement? Anko wondered as Jiraiya placed his arm around the solid clone's shoulders and escorted him outside of the office away from everyone's hearing ears after closing the door behind them and walking some feet away. After few moments later, Naruto's face turned crimson as his gaze lowered to the floor, unable to look Anko straight in the eyes. His mother and sister saw this and wondered what just happened. Jiraiya stepped back into the room after dispelling the clone moments ago. Seeing the look on Naruto's face, it was confirmed that it was a success. Tsunade looked at her former teammate questionably. What just happened and what did you do, Tsunade? She interrogated. Teaching Naruto a new trick, Jiraiya said with a grin. I took his Kage Bunshin out of listening range before saying anything, and yet he knew exactly what I said after the clone was punched out of existence. It was starting to dawn on the blonde what being taught to him. Yondaime elaborated. Whatever Naruto's Kage Bunshin sees, hears, smells, or experiences is transferred into him immediately after they puff out of existence. This makes them most useful for fighting, scouting, and training, especially with the massive amounts of chakra he possesses. If Naruto have a Kage Bunshin work on mastering a jutsu, all the progress it makes is transferred to him once it's cancelled. Use 10 Kage Bunshins, and you have 10 Narutos. He could do things that would take weeks in a single day. Naruto can use Kage Bushin to study and train with Shizun while Naruto himself trains with Anko. He can use the memory of those clones to practice. If he has the chakra to maintain enough clones, he could progress much faster. It would also increase his stamina and chakra reserves. The only drawback is the experience exhaustion he'll undergo by the sudden mental impact of absorbing the clone's memories and experiences. Depending on the amount of Kage Bushins he uses and what he has them do for whatever amount of time, Naruto could either feel very tired or completely fall unconscious immediately after absorbing the clone's memories and experiences. Naruto took the moment to process everything that was being explained to him and everyone else. Great, Naruto said after a long period of silence, I can multitask simultaneously and relish in its benefits. That's so cool. Yes, but don't go bragging to the other genins about this, Yondaime advised. Naruto nodded before making another Kage Bushin and instructing the clone that he was to accompany Shizun to begin their new medical training while he go with Anko to start his other training. With everything cleared up, Tsunade dismissed everyone from her office before returning back to her paperwork. Before Jiraiya left, Tsunade asked, just what was it you told my son? Nothing important, Jiraiya said rather quickly before exiting the room speedily. Tsunade saw that she was now alone in the office. Sighing, she stood up to look out the window to view the village before her. Meanwhile, Shizun and the Naruto clone went on their way to the hospital while Naruto and Anko went elsewhere as they exited the Hokage Tower. While heading to their destination, Anko said, Hey Gaki, you might want to get your new hairstyle fixed up. It looks like crap from where I'm seeing it. I'll let Shizun Nichan fix it later today, Naruto retorted. A moment later, a thought came to the older woman's mind. Out of curiosity, what was it that Jiraiya-sama told you that made it hard for you to look at me? Naruto didn't really want to answer that question, knowing fully well how Anko would more than likely react on hearing his answer. Nothing significant really, Naruto said, though the color on his face betrayed him. Don't lie to me, kid, Anko said, I wasn't made a special jounin by being stupid. Now if we're to be working together, I want the truth from you. Now tell me, what was it that he said? Naruto looked at the older woman nervously before answering, He said that you don't wear bra or panties under that fishnet bodysuit of yours and how very lucky I was to be getting private lessons from you considering what happened between us several months ago. Anko was seething and fuming on hearing that. But her anger wasn't directed at Naruto this time, but at a certain older man. At that moment she was wondering in just how many ways could she hurt this man when another idea came to her mind. He said that Anko said, before a sinister smile appeared on her face, well now, that give me an idea for your first test. A test? Naruto asked questionably. That's right, Anko confirmed, all new genins are given a test by their jounin instructor to see if they're truly fit to be ninjas. If they fail, they're sent back to the academy. You won't get me to go back. Good. Now your test will be against a certain shinobi. Beating him won't be an easy feat. You'll have 3 hours to come up with a way to bring about his downfall. Who's the target? Naruto asked. 2 hours later. Jiraiya was walking through the forest by himself in hopes to find some young women bathing and playing by the river. As he made his way through the forest, his ears heard distinctive sounds that sounded like anything but two people training together. Letting his lecherous nature take control of him, he quietly followed the direction from where the sounds were coming. When he finally arrived on the scene, he hid behind the bushes and peeked at the sight. His eyes widened in shock and giddiness upon seeing the sight. Before him were Anko and Naruto, both of whom were holding each other romantically as though they were having a secret love affair. Damn, that kid works fast, Jiraiya thought with a perverted smile as he pulled out his pen and notepad to write down ideas for what he hopes would be a next bestseller for his novel series. Moments later Naruto asked mischievously, Anko-sensei, is what Ero-jisan said about you not wearing bra or panties true? There's only one way to see if what he says is true or not, Anko replied seductively as she released an ever-eager Naruto, I think I'll start my first lesson in showing you the works and wonders of a kunoichi's body. After saying that, Anko took a few steps away from Naruto before she slowly removed her trench coat and threw it to the side before starting the process of slowly undoing her mini-skirt while moving her body in an erotic fashion while Naruto watched happily. Jiraiya was so engrossed with the scene he was watching and taking notes on that he failed to notice someone sneaking up from behind him stealthily. Before he knew it, Jiraiya was clobbered very hard on the head, knocking him unconscious. 15 minutes later. Jiraiya woke up to a splitting headache but soon found something very wrong with his surrounding environment. What happened? Jiraiya said drowsily, where am I and why is everything upside down? That was when Jiraiya realized that he was tied to his ankles while being held high to ceiling of a certain bathhouse with all but his boxers removed off him. Painted in red across his head was the phrase, Mega Pervert. To add to the situation he was in was that there was a candle burning away at the rope that was holding him up and the rope was mere moments from snapping and releasing him. Jiraiya gulped in terror and fear when he realized that underneath him were bathing kunoichis, some of whom were jounins and possibly a few were umbu as well. Jiraiya didn't have time to react when the rope snapped and sent him falling into the waters upon the unsuspecting naked kunoichis. Moments later, very loud wails of pain, suffering and misery were heard by many villagers as sounds of heavy beatings accompanied the loud wailings. Many at first thought that someone had the unpleasant doom of being sent to a kibi as the cries continued. Those who were close enough to the women's bathhouse however knew that some guy was stupid enough to risk his health to go inside the women's bathhouse. Some of the males gave their sympathy to the poor soul. Meanwhile, Anko and Naruto were laughing their asses off while hearing Jiraiya's cries for help. Serves that pervert right, Anko laughed before turning to Naruto, combining Kage Bushin with Henge. That was true genius. I can't believe he fell for that ridiculous scene you fabricated. A true ninja studies his target carefully and looks for their weaknesses. He then works on those weaknesses and baits the target into their trap. Tell me though, Anko asked, how did you manage to sneak him into the bathhouse without being noticed? A ninja doesn't give away his secrets that hastily, Naruto said, there are ears in the wind after all. Needless to say Naruto, you got the idea of this test, Anko said, you studied and exploited your target's weakness, using it to your advantage without alerting him to your presence and placing him into an inescapable demise. You were also careful enough not to explain how you executed your plan too openly since enemy shinobis could be listening in the crowd. If that were to happen, the enemy could try to manipulate and use your own method against you. You pass my test, Naruto. Let's celebrate your success with some dangos and bean soup. Naruto shrugged as he followed Anko to the nearest dango shop. Unknown to the duo was that Sandaime and Godaime were watching the scene from Sandaime's all-seeing crystal ball. Any more doubts about Naruto being paired with Anko? Sandaime asked. After how Naruto set that pervert up, Tsunade laughed. I take back everything I said. Looking back at his crystal ball, Sandaime thought while looking at Naruto and Anko, yes, this will be most interesting special Jounin and Elite Genin pairing. Chapter 18, Training Days. 2 days later. Word got out that Naruto's new Jounin instructor was Mitarashi Anko. It went without say that it spread like wildfire. Many were wondering what the Hokage was thinking placing someone like Anko as Naruto's instructor. Some who knew of Tsunade's drinking habits thought that she must have been incredibly drunk when setting up the Genin teams. Many gave Naruto their pity for being stuck with a psycho or whom many regard as a female version of the Snake Sunin and Konoha's worst traitor, Orochimaru. Kakashi, Kurane, and Asuma were caught off guard that day when Sandaime announced to them that Anko was selected as Naruto's new instructor. Needless to say, all 3 Jounins argued with Sandaime about it, but the Sarutobi wouldn't hear of it and made it clear that Naruto is in an entirely higher level than the other Genins and has different training to undergo. Tsunade explained to them that Naruto would be assigned to work with their teams from time to time depending on the mission or assignment. Although it wasn't exactly what the 3 Jounins wanted, especially Kakashi, but they reluctantly accepted. It was noted on Team 7's first day with Kakashi that Sai and Sakura don't get along well and that Sai have insulted her by asking her to wear a paper bag over her head to conceal her ugly face when in public together. Sakura was enraged by Sai's remarks and was about to attack him had it not been for Kakashi's intervention to calm Sakura's anger. Naruto later learned from Kakashi that his Genin team passed his test, though they failed in acquiring the bells from him. Kakashi told him that he was given Genins to train before, but they all failed because they didn't grasp the concept of teamwork and supporting their teammates. He then told Naruto that Sai was victimized from his infamous 1,000 years of death jutsu and was sent flying into a lake. Naruto cringed at the thought of what Kakashi did to the boy and only hoped that Kakashi would never attempt that attack on him. Kakashi then related how Sasuke at first tried doing it solo only to end up buried into the ground up to his neck and Sakura didn't bother helping Sai after he was ambushed by Kakashi but instead backed off and left him behind after seeing how Sai was overpowered by him and remembering how he insulted her. As a result, Sakura ended up being tied to the log while he gave lunch boxes to Sai and Sasuke, telling them to eat in front of Sakura and that they'll be allowed to try to get the bells again, but that if they feed Sakura they will fail and be sent back to the academy. After he left, both boys fed Sakura anyway, telling her that she would be of no use to them if she's hungry. Kakashi told Naruto that kind of thinking was what allowed all 3 of them to pass his test before he explained his ideals on helping your teammates and not abandoning them, regardless of the reasons. When Ino and Hinata found out that Anko was Naruto's new instructor, both girls were furious since they never forgot what took place a couple of months ago in that dango shop. Kiba kept his distance from Hinata whenever she looked in his direction with a glare, remembering the stunt he pulled and the fact that Naruto is now stuck with the woman he unintentionally gave his first kiss to. Kurane saw that she had to work on steaming Hinata's fury against Kiba if they and Shino are to be working together as a Genin cell under her supervision. Asuma, Shikamura, and Chuji had the displeasure of hearing Ino rant on and on angrily about how Naruto shouldn't be stuck with Anko and that the team arrangements ought to be re-evaluated. Shikamaru found Ino's interest and desire to be with Naruto that badly troublesome. 3 days later. Sandaime was in his former office reviewing a few of the many documents on the desk in front of him. He sighed to himself being looking at the stacks of papers before him. Why did I agree to substitute for Tsunade and temporarily take this job again? Sandaime thought to himself taking a puff of his pipe. Tsunade left Konoha with her Umbu entourage to meet the Sandaime Hokage, 3rd Star Shadow, in Hoshigaku no Sato, Hidden Star Village, for a treaty alliance since Hoshigaku was a much smaller village than Konoha. Though small, Hoshigaku was a prideful village because of the star that was said to have fallen from the heavens and land down in their village 200 years ago. The Yondaime Hokage discovered that the strength of his chakra increased by training by the meteorite. For this reason their village has been targeted by foreign nations countless times. However, The Yondaime Hokage later forbade the training with the star 10 years ago because many of the shinobis of the village died from exposure to the meteorite's negative side effects on the person's body. The Yondaime Hokage decreed that the village of Hoshigakuer would train without the use of the star. Sarutobi's train of thoughts was derailed when the door to the office opened. "Heiji-san," Naruto greeted as he entered the office before closing the door behind him. 5 days earlier he had Shizun fix his hair after he sliced off a large portion of it. His trimmed-down stringy-style haircut that let some of his hair reach his shoulders made Naruto look distinguished among the genins, and it helped bring out his resemblance to his father Minato. "Naruto," Yondaime greeted back, "what do I owe the pleasure?" "Nothing," Naruto said, "Anko-chan gave me the day off, something about meeting Ibiki for some criminal interrogation or something." Was all Yondaime said. The elderly man was about to say something when, "I'll get you this time, old man, and then I'll become Hokage," said the 7-year-old boy as he charged towards the man, intending to take the man's life with the shuriken in his hand. The boy barely got halfway across the office before he tripped on his own feet, landing down to the floor face first. A sweat-dropping Naruto looked at the boy and thought, "This kid has as much agility and grace as a man with a heart attack." The boy whined as he got up and looked around before he saw Naruto, who was now face to face with him. "Hey! You jerk, you tripped me," said the boy, pointing his finger at Naruto. The blonde-haired elite genin was almost surprised that the boy didn't recognize him. "I never thought that my change in wardrobe and hairstyle made me that unrecognizable," Naruto thought before smirking. "I'll play along with this. Kid, you're not worth wasting a fraction of my chakra on. Furthermore, you tripped yourself on the wooden floor due to your own lack of common sense. That, and from the way you ran across the room, you also lack coordination and grace," said Naruto, smirking at the boy who was glaring at him with a fury. "Honorable grandson? Honorable grandson, are you in here?" said another voice, looking around for his wished-for target. "He's in here, Ebisu. Don't worry, he's alright. Just tripped and hurt himself, again," sighed Yondaime. "Honorable grandson?" questioned Naruto with a pretense that he didn't know who the boy was. Yondaime saw through Naruto's facade, but he decided to see how the whole thing was going to play out. "Yeah. I'm Kano Amaru, the grandson of Yondaime Hokage, so you can't do anything to me or you'll get in trouble," said the boy, whose voice seemed to have a form of arrogance to it. Naruto brought his right hand to the kid's forehead and flicked him, sending him flying off the floor before landing down and rolling on the ground before coming to a stop, lying on the ground momentarily knocked out. Tsunade's insane strength and character are really manifesting in Naruto, thought Yondaime as he sighed at the display. "Don't worry. I didn't hurt him much," said Naruto, walking by Yondaime Hokage and a still in shock Ebisu as he exited the office. "That spoiled blonde brat. Being with that snake whore only makes him worst. I'll get him for doing that to the Yondaime's grandson," thought Ebisu before pushing his glasses up slightly before he realized the 7-year-old boy he was in charge of was no longer in the office. "It appears Kano Amaru has left to seek out Naruto," Sarutobi said while taking a small puff from his pipe. Ebisu left in pursuit of the two. Konoha streets, several moments later. Naruto was walking through the busy streets of Konoha. As he walked down one of the alleys, he noticed the terribly disguised boy trying to blend in with the wall. "Kid, if you're going to blend in with the wall, try doing it right the first time," said Naruto. "You're strong, I can tell," said Kano Amaru, approaching Naruto. "Maybe you can train me." Naruto looked at boy with a raised eyebrow. "Don't you already have a teacher?" "That jounin with dark glasses I believe seems to be a capable type," said Naruto, putting his hands in his pocket. "Ebisu-sensei is alright, but he is always getting me to do all this boring ninja stuff that he keeps saying are all shortcuts for me to be Hokage," said Kano Amaru, kicking a small rock on the road in a depressing tone. "So you disapprove of his methods because they're shortcuts, or is it something else?" Naruto inquired. "I don't mind taking shortcuts, it's just that he and so many others only see me as the honorable grandson of Yondaime Hokage and not as the real me. By the way, my name is Kano Amaru," said Kano Amaru, extending his hand for Naruto to shake, which Naruto did, smiling at the boy. "I'm Senju Uzumaki Naruto. It's nice to meet a fellow shinobi who seeks to become the Hokage," said Naruto, who found it humorous seeing the younger boy's reaction on hearing his name. "You're Senju Uzumaki Naruto? Go Dame Sama's son?" The Naruto who beat Itachi and his partner, Who plays all of those great pranks on those Chiryunins, Jounins, and Umbu, said Kano Amaru excitedly. Do you know any other Senju Uzumaki Naruto that's in Konoha, said Naruto with his own sense of haughtiness. The boy has the same spirit as you Naruto, and he wants to be recognized by his peers and others as a unique individual other than the Sandame's grandson, Yondaime said to Naruto as he saw what Naruto acknowledged when he looked into the younger boy's eyes, desire for true recognition. He reminds me of myself in some ways, Naruto thought. Like him, I want to be known as more than the son of Yondaime Hokage or the last Namikaze who so happens to be the son of Yondaime Hokage as the village council sees me as. I'm sorry that I didn't recognize you Naruto. I thought you were somebody else, Kano Amaru apologized. It's alright, said Naruto, almost nobody recognizes me with this new appearance of mine. My grandfather told me many things about you. He said that you're a really good and strong shinobi. I'm not that great. Honestly, I'm still working on improving myself and my skills Kano Amaru. All the more reason for you to train me, come on boss. Please train me, said Kano Amaru putting his hands together in a semi-prayer form making Naruto give him a tired look that nearly followed up with a sigh. A moment later a thought came to mind and after thinking it over, he came to a decision. Okay Kano Amaru. I'll teach you some useful things, but only if you promise me as the grandson of the Sandaime Hokage you will not teach these jutsus or skills to anyone else you meet. Deal, said Naruto. I swear it boss. You have my word. Lead the way, said Kano Amaru who now followed Naruto through the busy village streets to the bookstore. Naruto entered the bookstore and was greeted by the storekeeper. Naruto-sama, honorable grandson, what brings you two here today, greeted the storekeeper. Just here to buy a particular book, came Naruto's reply. The storekeeper asked, what book might that be? Naruto went over and whispered something into the man's ear and the man giggled and nodded. I have just the book for you, the storekeeper said as he went to the back momentarily before returning with the book Naruto requested. Being the son of the Hokage, Naruto paid less than a fraction for what the book actually cost. Although Naruto insisted on paying the full price before the storekeeper told him that it's on him. After thanking the book storekeeper, both Naruto and Kano Amaru left the store and started toward their next destination. Hey boss, where are we going? To a forest-surrounded clearing where people hopefully won't bother us. Naruto, Yondaime spoke up with a voice filled with annoyance, please don't tell me that you actually intend on teaching him that jutsu. Naruto simply grinned sinisterly, only to confirm Yondaime's dread. Meanwhile, Ebisu searched frantically for Naruto and Kano Amaru only to find they were nowhere to be found within the public areas of the village itself. Where did that spoiled blonde take the honorable grandson? If he hurts the boy in any way he'll have me to answer to, said Ebisu from his position on a rooftop. 2 hours later. Kano Amaru was panting heavily from constantly using so much of his chakra for the jutsu that according to Naruto's explanation would knock out the Sandaime almost instantly. Earlier, Naruto had Kano Amaru study the graphic pictures from the book he bought from the store earlier. The book was the latest rare edition of Ika Ika Paradise that wasn't to be out on the market until 2.5 weeks' time. Kano Amaru's face was red from seeing the very detailed nude pictures of the young women in the book. After reviewing the selected pages Naruto told him to study, Naruto demonstrated his jutsu and showed the boy how to do it before the boy decided to try to master that jutsu. Alright Kano Amaru, try again and keep in mind that it should reflect you as if you were an actual slim-shaped female, Naruto instructed before mentally admitting that after a couple dozen attempts with the jutsu the kid was beginning to demonstrate he had potential. Before Kano Amaru could try it again, Ebisu showed up frowning if not scowling at Naruto. What do you think you are doing with Kano Amaru, said Ebisu who sounded serious as he looked irritated at Naruto who just looked back at the older man as if what he said was of little if any importance. Boss is helping me train to beat my grandfather with this super cool jutsu he taught me. You can't be serious, Ebisu replied, I'm the only person capable of teaching you how to surpass your grandfather and become Hokage. Whatever, Kano Amaru retorted, your shortcuts barely work at all, but boss jutsu will beat my grandfather for sure. Behold. Warak no jutsu, said Konohamaru, turning into a nicely shaped and proportioned naked woman with smoke covering her privates, similar to the one Naruto does, only with long brown hair and medium-shaped breasts. Ebisu was far from awed and was even more infuriated that Naruto had taught such a jutsu to young Konohamaru. Such a shameful jutsu will not work on me. I'm not like the others who react to such a thing, said Ebisu, whose character was slightly overstated when he said that. Konohamaru dispelled the jutsu. Naruto, Ebisu berated, you're a reprehensible ninja for corrupting the boy with such a disgraceful jutsu. Your mother would be ashamed of you. I'm sorry, Naruto apologized mockingly, I didn't know you were into men. Ebisu fell down at the statement. How dare you insinuate such a thing? I'm not gay. I just have more control over myself than most other guys do with their perverted urges, said Ebisu, rising and standing up right away from his fall before regaining his composure. Control, Naruto said in sarcasm, try this. Taijuyokage Bushin no Jutsu. Naruto produced an army of shadow clones. Before Ebisu could say a word, Naruto and all of the clones formed a seal and yelled, Henge. In an instant, Ebisu was surrounded by an army of naked, soaked and wet and big-breasted females with long and soaked blonde hair with smoke covering their breasts and privates. Konohamaru looked on in amazement while Ebisu was completely stupefied at the scene. Meanwhile at the Hokage Tower, Sandaime sweat dropped with a very annoyed expression as he watched the entire scene from his all-seeing crystal ball. He watched as the female clones charged at the Jounin and started groping onto Ebisu, who after so much groping from the naked female clones finally got a massive nosebleed that sent him flying off his feet and down to the ground before losing consciousness from blood loss. That was my advanced version of my Warrick no Jutsu known as Harem no Jutsu, Naruto grinned. At the Hokage Tower. He combined his absurd hentai jutsu with Kage Bushin, Sandaime thought as he gazed into his all-seeing crystal ball with his pipe in his mouth, amazingly though it proved to be quite a devastating attack. Sighed as he slightly pulled down his Hokage hat over his eyes, and if I'm not careful, he just might catch me with it. Back in the forest. Wow. You rock, boss, said Konohamaru as he was amazed at how Naruto defeated his teacher with such an advanced version of the jutsu Naruto taught to him. Thanks Konohamaru, but don't think these jutsus are shortcuts to becoming Hokage, because there are no shortcuts in real life. Anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't know the meaning of hard work hard like the both of us. If you want to become stronger and be acknowledged as more than the grandson of Sandaime, then keep practicing and working harder just as I expect you to. I too seek to be Hokage because not only do I want to protect this village that I love and everyone who lives in it, but I desire to surpass both Yondaime and Godaime. Naruto gave the kid a thumbs up before he turning and walking off back to the village. Boss, Konohamaru called out, capturing Naruto's attention, from now on we're going to be rivals. You'll be my way of measuring myself for when I become Hokage. The 7-year-old held out his right fist to Naruto. The blonde nodded to him before smiling at him in acknowledgement before resuming his way back to Konoha. Later. On the way back to the Hokage Tower, Naruto ran into Kakashi and Team 7 painting. From what Naruto was seeing, Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai were painting someone's wooden fence. A D-rank mission, Naruto acknowledged as he went over to greet Kakashi, who was standing from a distance away from the other genins while reading his favorite book series. Hey Dobe, Sasuke called out to Naruto, just where are you coming from? Nowhere for you to worry about, Naruto retorted, nice job on the fence though. At this rate your skills will be advanced in no time. Sasuke scowled at him. The raven-haired Uchiha and the others didn't miss the sarcasm in Naruto's comment to them. That stupid jerk, Inner Sakura yelled, how dare he mock Sasuke-kun like that? I'm sure Sasuke-kun will show him in time. Sai looked at Naruto with interest. He sensed that there was more to the blonde than meet the eyes, though he heard many things about Naruto. Sai was particularly interested in Naruto's style of fashion. You'd think he was a young Yondaime, Sai thought to himself as he and the other watch Naruto walked to Kakashi to talk to him about something, but they couldn't make out what they were saying. They decided to ignore them when they heard Kakashi chuckled giddily at what Naruto handed over to him. Kakashi placed the new Ika Ika Paradise book Naruto gave him in his pocket, saving it for a good read for later. With that out of the way, Naruto continued on his way to the Hokage Tower. 2 days later, in the Forest of Death. Naruto was walking through the infamous and highly feared Forest of Death in search of a particular purple-haired woman. Where the hell is that woman? Naruto thought when a kunai was sent flying at him from out of nowhere. The blonde turned in time to effortlessly catch the kunai before several more kunais were sent at him. He dodged the weapons before throwing the one he caught earlier back in the direction from which the kunais were sent. The attacker dodged the kunai and jumped from her hiding place and went straight at Naruto. She started attacking him, throwing as many hard punches and kicks she could give him. Over the past couple of days, Anko wanted to test his abilities and see if what his files revealed to her was everything she was led to believe about Naruto and not a waste of her time. Needless to say, Naruto did more than meet her expectations as he started going on the offensives and began throwing punches of his own. Anko was surprised at his speed and stamina, not to mention his unbelievable strength. Although she wouldn't admit it, his hits actually hurt. What the hell did Tsunade-sama teach this Yondaime Hokage? Anko wondered before jumping away and assuming a fighting stance. Naruto did likewise, but he assumed a stance that hasn't been seen in many years. That stance, Anko thought, only one person assumed that stance. How did that Yondaime Hokage learn that stance? Careful Naruto, Yondaime advised, it's crazy enough that you made yourself look like me. Now you're assuming my battle stance as well. I'm your surviving legacy, I'm sure you remember, Naruto mentally retorted, beside I'm bound to look like you anyway, like it or not. Anko and Naruto looked at each other with unwavering determination. Anytime you're ready Yondaime Hokage, Anko said. Great, Naruto thought in sarcasm, another Hokage nickname of endearment to add to my growing list. Naruto dashed and charged at Anko head-on. A direct frontal attack, Anko grinned, this kid has more balls than I thought. Just when it seemed that Naruto was about to hit her, he suddenly phased out and disappeared almost as if he performed the Shunshin. What the hell, Anko yelled in her head, I didn't have time to see where he went. He was so fast. She speedily looked around while keeping her guard up. If he was truly what his files said he is, then she really had her hands filled. Hearing a sound from behind her, she quickly turned and launched a kunai in the direction the sound came from, only for it to hit a tree instead. Come out of hiding Yondaime Hokage, Anko yelled, I don't have time for hide and seek, although there's really nowhere you can hide where I can't find you. I live in this forest after all. I had no intentions of hiding actually, came Naruto reply as he came charge at her. Before he could get close to her, Anko bit her thumb hard before doing a series of hand seals and Kukiyos no Jutsu, she said as she slammed her palm to the ground, a massive 60-foot brown snake puff into existence. A very confident Anko stood by the giant snake before Naruto stopped in his tracks. What now Yondaime Hokage? Let's see you try to get close to me now. Gladly. Taijuyokage Bushin no Jutsu. An army of Naruto clones puffed into existence and surrounded Anko and the snake. The woman was unquestionably shocked at the number of clones that surrounded her. Shit, Anko cursed in disbelief. I thought that old man of a Hokage was exaggerating about this brat's amount of chakra. He has a lot more than I do if he could make these many clones and not be fatigued from it. The female special Jounin tried not to look intimidated as she gave her trademark sadistic smirk. So you made copy brats of yourself. Big deal. It doesn't change a thing, Elite Genin. I told you it would be wise for you not to underestimate me, Naruto said as he and his clones came at the female special Jounin. The grain snake however started attacking the clones with a fierce animosity. Many of the clones were swatted into puffs of smoke as they tried to attack the large snake. A smoke screen was made as a result of the entire army of Naruto clones being swatted out of existence. Anko and the large snake were the only ones remaining after the smoke screen gradually died down. Is that all you got? Anko mocked, Elite Genin. This isn't even worth my TI dash. She wasn't able to finish when a boulder came flying at her. She dodged the boulder in time, but the snake ended up being on the receiving end of the boulder and was clobbered hard to the side of its face. The snake puffed out of existence, leaving Anko alone again. Where the hell did that boulder come from? Me, Naruto said as he walked into the clearing. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were trying to kill me. Smirking, Naruto replied, I wasn't trying, because as far as it goes, you're already dead. What do you mean Yondaime Hokage? Naruto pointed to her waist and showed her the kunai and shuriken he planted into her mini-skirt. The cage bushins I sent at you were mere decoys, Naruto explained, I knew that the snake you summoned would have swatted my clones like insects, which was exactly what I was counting on. With the smoke screen that my clones dispelling created, I was able to sneak in among my clones and smoke screen undetected and place my shuriken and kunao into your skirt and sneak away just as undetected as before. I could have killed you the entire time in more ways than one, Anko-chan. The purple-haired woman didn't know whether to applaud Naruto for winning against her or question the boy's abilities against her own. Amidst the confusion, she couldn't detect when he approached her. "You got me," Anko said as he pulled the kunao and shuriken from out of her skirt, annoyed that Naruto damaged her clothes. "That was really good." Naruto approached Anko, who appeared like she was about to hand him back his weapons. As he reached out for them, a viper popped out from within her sleeves and wrapped around Naruto's arm before it bit deeply into his arm. Naruto cried in pain as the poisonous snake refused to release him from its hold and bite. Anko grinned sinisterly as her snake held its grip on Naruto. "You're too trusting, Yondaime Hokage," Anko said. "Never lower your guard to an enemy. Especially if that enemy is a viper." Naruto looked at Anko and retorted, "And you would do well to take my advice." Anko looked at him questionably. "Like I told you before," Naruto said seriously, "it would be wise for you not to underestimate me." With that, Naruto puffed into a cloud of white smoke. "That was a Kage Bushin," Anko said after being caught off guard as she dropped the kunao and shuriken. The shuriken though puffed into white smoke and out came Naruto, who grabbed the kunao and speedily dashed and pinned Anko to the ground, holding both her arms down firmly to the ground with his kneecaps. He placed his full weight on her arms, leaving her completely immobilized on her back as he held the kunao to her throat, ready to slash her jugular at a moment's notice. "I'll say it again," Naruto stated, "I could have killed you the entire time in more ways than one, Anko-chan." "Damn, this kid is more resourceful than I gave him credit for," Anko admitted to herself. "I understand now why so many ninjas have fallen victim to his traps and why he wasn't placed on a genin team. I'm surprised that he wasn't made jounin or umbu." "Okay, Yondaime Hokage, you can get off me now," Anko said before she gave a warped grin. "I know you enjoy having me on my back and being on top of me and all, but our sparring is now over." Naruto blushed heavily and frowned at Anko's twisted remark. He did as he was told as he placed his kunao back into its compartment after he noticed a certain seal on her neck, but not making mention of it yet. "And you call me a pervert?" Naruto said. Anko snorted as she brushed the dirt off herself. "Like you don't enjoy being alone with me?" "I learned to put up with you, so I guess it counts for something," Naruto replied. Anko snorted again and stuck her tongue at him. The student-teacher relationship between those two is anything but orthodox. Anko and Naruto had a knack for shooting each other with sarcasm. They were always trying to be the one with the last words. Anko didn't mind Naruto placing Chan instead of Sensei at the end of her name. In truth, being called Sensei made her feel old, and no other person has ever called her Anko-chan, and even though she didn't verbally admit it, she liked the honorific familiarity Naruto calls her by. "Whatever," Anko said. "Anyway, judging from the way you fight, it's clear that you were excellently taught, and I highly doubt it was at the academy. Your skills are too advanced." "That's why the academy bored me," Naruto said. "Many of the stuff they taught me, Kaa-chan already had me trained in them." "Yes, I know," Anko shot back. "I'm surprised that you didn't graduate early." "The old geezer wouldn't hear of it," Naruto stated. "I wanted to graduate early, but he said that I had too big an arrogance in how I viewed others and myself, and that 4 years at the academy would serve to humble me." "That's harsh," Anko said before smiling her sadistic trademark grin. "He could have been more merciful by sending you to me back then. I would have had you re-educated within the hour." "Was that a private lesson you were offering me, Sensei?" Naruto asked with a mischievous tone. "Shut up," Anko replied before deciding to change the subject. "All right, Yondaime Hokage, seeing that I'm your teacher and that you're a most advanced genin, I won't waste our time in the average training rookie genins go through. Therefore I have something else in mind for you to study and practice." "Really?" "Follow me," Anko said as both Naruto and her started walking off to her place. While on their way to where she lives, Naruto thought about that mark he saw on her neck on her left shoulder. "You saw the seal on her neck, I presume?" Yondaime said. "I did," Naruto replied. "Do you know what it is?" "Speaking as a seal master, I'm certain that Orochimaru has something to do with it. That Sunin was known for his use of forbidden seals in S-class kinjutsus." Naruto remained silent. Perhaps it would be best for you to inquire of it from Anko if she's willing to talk about it. Naruto nodded slightly. After 15 minutes of silent walking, they reached the tower. She went inside after telling him to wait outside for her. After another 5 minutes, Anko returned with a large bag in her hand. "What's with the bag, Anko-chan?" Naruto asked. Anko smiled as she tossed him the bag. The blonde caught the bag only to find that a pile of books and scrolls were inside the bag. Naruto's eyes widened from the number. Anko laughed at his expression. "What the hell are all these scrolls and books for?" Naruto asked. "Scrolls and books that you'll need to study from so you can grasp the beginning of the jutsus you'll learn with me," Anko explained. "These books and scrolls will teach you the basics of poisons, serpents and snake summoning." "Really?" Naruto asked with interest. Anko made several quick hand signs. As soon as she finished, she shot her hands forward and 2 large snakes shot out of her jacket sleeves, 1 snake per sleeve. "You'll teach me how to shoot and summon snakes out of my arms." "That and maybe a few other jutsus of my choosing," Anko replied. Shrugging, Naruto formed a seal and Kage Bushin no Jutsu. 12 Naruto clones puffed into existence. Naruto handed each clone a book or scroll from the bag Anko gave him and instructed the clones to study everything and practice what's in the books and scrolls. The clones nodded as they all sat down and started studying. "That'll keep them busy," Naruto said. "So what now?" "Damn, I forgot you could do that," Anko said. "Those scrolls and books were to keep you busy for the rest of the week." Naruto retorted, "Oh well. I'll have those books and scrolls learned in no time." "Yes, I see." Naruto then remembered something and said, "Hey Anko-chan, there's something I want to ask you." "And what would that be?" "I wanted to ask about that seal you have on your neck. I saw it and I was wondering how you got it." Naruto saw different forms of emotions flash across her eyes, from hurt, to anger and a lot of regrets, and it left in another flash. He and Yondaime suspected that Orochimaru had something to do with it, but Naruto wanted to hear it from her mouth. Just then he saw her involuntarily reach up and grab her left shoulder with a faraway look on her face, like she was remembering something. "It's a curse seal," she scowled, "Orochimaru's curse seal to be precise." "How did you get it?" The blonde saw her expression changed from looking angry to sad and hurt. She quickly masked it to look happy again. I don't want to talk about it," Anko said. "I might tell you some other time, but not right now. Let's get some dangos to eat." Naruto knew that she carried a lot on her shoulders, but he wanted to hear her story directly and find out more about her. For the next few weeks, Tsunade had returned back to Konoha 4 days after Anko gave Naruto the books and scrolls to study from. During the next couple of weeks, Naruto did several D-rank missions with Teams 7, 8, and 10 much to his displeasure. He didn't mind working with the teams, but he hated the kinds of missions D-rank entails. From pulling walking someone's dogs to carrying groceries for elderly people to cleaning somebody's storage house, etc. In all accounts, Naruto found D-rank missions to be nothing more than a waste of his talents and time. Sandaime and Tsunade explained to Naruto that if he seeks to become Hokage, he must cultivate an intense love for the village and view everything about it as precious and worth taking care of as a parent nurtures and takes care of their child or children. When it comes to raising and caring, refining, and protecting their children, no task is too tedious, too small, or too great for the parent to assume responsibility for. This served to stem off some of Naruto's displeasure with the D-rank missions he had to do with the 3 teams. During the weeks while doing these missions, he continued using Kage Bushin to train with Shizune at the hospital and have his clones study and practice whatever healing and medical scrolls or books he had to read. At the same time though, he practiced the summoning snakes jutsu Anko taught him, although Anko cautioned him about when and where he uses them, seeing that snakes are infamous in Konoha because of a particular sunin. Regardless, Naruto learned and in time mastered summoning snakes from his arms like Anko taught, and he also learned and practiced some of her fighting styles, though snake-oriented. Although Anko didn't say it verbally, she took pride in the fact that she had someone to teach who wasn't afraid of her or looked down at her harshly because of her past with Orochimaru. 2 days later, there was a report from Team 7 that a garden snake crawled into Sakura's dress during another D-rank mission while they were pulling weeds out of someone's garden. Tsunade was more than annoyed at that the stunt her son pulled, especially since the garden's owner disputed that his garden has no records of ever having snakes of any sort in it. The report was handled and no penalty was dealt against the garden owner since he wasn't the responsible for the garden snake's appearance. A week later, Naruto was called into his mother's office with Kakashi and Team 7 already present. They were going to be assigned another mission. Kakashi, Tsunade started, Naruto will be joining your Genin cell for your next D-rank mission. You and your team will be assigned to Dash. Kaa-chan, Naruto cut in, I mean no disrespect but for the past couple weeks we've been doing nothing but D-ranks missions and the last one involving finding and retrieving that fire daimyo's wife's cat sucked big time. That mission was supposed to strengthen and teach you for the value of teamwork and executing planning formations Naruto, Tsunade explained. I'd rather be taught the value of performing an autopsy on that damn cat after the problems it gave us, Naruto replied. Personally I feel I speak for everyone when I say that we'd like to have a more challenging mission this time to test out skills as ninjas. I have the same opinion with the Dash, I mean Naruto, Sasuke said after catching himself from insulting Naruto in front of his mother, not wanting to risk the Hokage's wrath. We've been doing nothing but D-rank missions and I feel that our skills aren't being challenged or sharpened enough. I agree with Sasuke-kun on this one Tsunade-sama, Sakura spoke. Of course you would, Naruto snorted, right after he repeated what it was that I said just now. Expect nothing less from a fanatical fangirl in need of a facial bag Naruto-kun, Sai added mockingly, earning him Sakura's fist that nearly collided with his face had it not been for him evading the attack at a timed moment. Naruto noted this. That kid has potentials, Naruto thought. Tsunade simply sighed at the scene. After giving what Naruto told her some thought, she came to a decision. Well, based on your accomplishments on all of the D-rank missions you four have made, I'll give you different mission to further improve your expertise. All four of you and Kakashi will be given a C-rank mission. You five will be going to Nami no Kuni to escort a faintly elderly man home and also to protect him from bandits and the like, said Tsunade as she nodded to Shizune to bring in the client. A moment later, Shizune returned back into the office with their partially drunk client. Tajuna, Tsunade said, these five will be your escort to Nami no Kuni. The man turned and looked at the group in front of him. You got to be joking. Hiccup, I asked for a skilled ninja escort and all I get is a team filled with children who've barely hit puberty and a scarecrow-haired cyclops. Hiccup, and what's with the blonde kid trying to dress up in a way to stand out in the crowd as if he's the greatest, said Tajuna as he went to drink from his bottle when. You'll do well to neither insult or underestimate us old man, said Naruto calmly but a bit coldly, I had my share of being underestimated in the past, and for what it's worth, the one who underestimates suffers at the hands of the underestimated. Plus my mother who's sitting right in front of you and Shizune Nichin who brought you in here, and Kakashi Naizen whom you so nicely called a scarecrow-haired cyclops don't take kindly to strangers who insult me openly in front of them. The older man looked at the blonde kid before turning to look at Tsunade and Shizune who were looking back at him sternly. Kakashi's expression was unreadable to the older man, making him appear more mysterious. The gray-haired man, who surprisingly woke from his drunken stupor, gulped in fear for his own safety after realizing that he openly insulted the son of the Godame in front of her and everyone in the office. My apologizes Godame-sama, Tajun quickly bowed, please forgive my foolish conduct and remark about your son. Tsunade just nodded before grabbing everyone's attention again, all is forgiven. Team 7 with Naruto and company are to meet at the East Gate at 8 AM sharp tomorrow to head out for Nami no Kuni with you Tajuna. Turning to the Genins, use this time to make all of your preparations. Till then, you are all dismissed. Everyone left the office and went about their business, leaving Shizune alone with Tsunade. Naruto Otauto has come a long way Tsunade-sama, Shizune said in admiration, it's almost hard to believe that he was that defenseless baby we adopted all those years ago. Tsunade said teasingly before sighing to herself, yes Shizune. My boy has come a long way and if anything, smiled, he'll go further and beyond all expectations. I expect nothing less of my son. The following morning, Team 7 and Tajuna were waiting for Kakashi and Naruto to arrive at the East Gate. Kakashi, being the lazy man that he was, decided to come at 9:30 AM much to the discomfort of Tajuna and Team 7. Naruto, used to Kakashi's tacky demeanor, slept in longer and arrived at the same time as the copycat ninja. What took you two so long? yelled an angry Sakura, "we've been waiting here for a long time now." "Sorry for our lateness," Kakashi apologized for both himself and Naruto. "Naruto and I were on our way here when an elderly couple needed help with their dash." "Liars. Both of you," Sakura said, cutting him off. Naruto and Kakashi simply ignored her and shrugged. "Well," Kakashi said, "now that we're all here, we'll leave now and start our trek to Nami no Kuni." The three genins of Team 7 formed a protective circle around Tazuna while Kakashi took the lead in the front. Naruto, the elite genin, remained at the rear to keep guard over everyone in front of him as they started on their journey from Konoha to Nami no Kuni. A former Umbu captain and a Sunin-level genin, Naruto thought to himself, assigned to a C-rank mission with 3 other genins. I wonder what'll result from this. Chapter 19, Voyage to Nami no Kuni. It's been 2 days since Naruto and Team 7 have left for Nami no Kuni to escort Tazuna, the famous bridge builder, to his home village. So far things have been calm if you can exclude Sakura trying to get Sasuke's attention but only to be ignored continuously. The blonde gave the girl his sympathy. Why does she put so much of her efforts and time on Sasuke? Naruto wondered while shaking his head. The guy virtually shows no interest in her whatsoever. I don't see why you're even concerned for that pink-haired harpy, Kyuubi mocked, but then again that's you entirely, like your stupid father. Shut up, Kyuubi, Naruto said. If you're so concerned about her plight with Sasuke-chan, Kyuubi continued to mock, end her torment by killing the bastard. Maybe then the harpy can do something useful with her time. Naruto had a most annoyed look on his face while ignoring the great fox. Sasuke and Sakura soon turned and looked at Naruto questionably. What's wrong with you, Dobe? Sasuke asked. No reason of any importance, Naruto replied. Whatever, Sasuke retorted, not like I care anyway. Then why did you ask in the first place? Naruto shot back. Sasuke chose to say nothing and turned back to the front. Soon, Naruto drowned Kyuubi's voice out of his mind, not wanting to be harassed by the fox monster. After a while, the seemingly calm atmosphere was about to change right about. Sakura-san, I have a question I've been meaning to ask you for quite some time now since we've been assigned to the same team with Kakashi-sensei, Sai said while Naruto pulled out a bottle of water and started drinking from it. And what would that be? Sakura asked. Are you into girls? Sai asked rather bluntly, causing Naruto to spew the water out of his mouth upon hearing the question. Kakashi raised an eyebrow on hearing that while Tazuna looked at the pair awkwardly. Sasuke looked at Sai funny for raising such a topic. Sakura was fuming and was ready to kill Sai as she emitted a bloodlust that promised unquestionable pain as she dashed and attempted to hit him while Sai ducked and dodged her coming assault. I'm not a lesbian, you freaking hentai, Sakura yelled indignantly as she tried to land her blows on Sai. How dare you ask me such a perverted question? I'm not a pervert. What I asked was simply a question asked out of curiosity, seeing how you're always wooing over dickless over there, Sai replied while pointing to the now enraged Sasuke who too wanted to seriously hurt him. Naruto futilely did everything in his power to keep from cracking up while tears were forming and falling down his face after seeing what Sai was implying. This is the group that's supposed to protect me, Tazuna grieved silently. Naruto by this time wiped away the tears from his eyes while trying to control his laughter. After a couple of moments Naruto regained his composure and got the laughter out of his system. As the group continued on their way, Yondaime was communicating with Naruto. I don't like this setup one bit, Naruto, Yondaime said suspiciously. What setup? Naruto asked quizzically. This mission is presently too easy to be simply a C-ranked mission, Yondaime answered. Somehow I sense that there's more to this mission than what's being led onto us. Yondaime's distrust of the supposed C-ranked mission only grew to higher levels as Naruto noticed to his side there was a small puddle of water. Kakashi also noticed the peculiar puddle of water a few feet from them. A puddle, Naruto and Kakashi thought, it's basically summertime now and it hasn't rained for days. Naruto and Kakashi turned back around and continued on their way. As they did, the puddle they just passed morphed into 2 ninjas with scratches on their forehead protectors. They wore black clothes and had huge gauntlets on, equipped with massive claws. They were connected by a sharp-looking chain between the gauntlets. They jumped towards the group and wrapped their chain around Naruto, who of course was behind everyone, making him the easiest to attack. First one, the two ninjas said as Kakashi, Sasuke, Sakura, Sai, and Tajuna whirled around in time before Naruto was shredded. Naruto, Team 7 yelled out as Naruto's body parts rained down from the air and onto the ground in a cloud of smoke. Taking out the strongest of us first, Kakashi thought as he and Sai placed their guard up in front of Tajuna when the ninjas turned their attention them. Second one of the two killers said as they rushed at Sakura with their chain in hand ready to do what they did to Naruto on her. That was until Sasuke jumped into the air, pulled out a shuriken and a kunai. He threw the shuriken at the chain. The shuriken brought the chain to a nearby tree, and Sasuke threw the kunai, lodging the chain into the tree. The two mist ninjas tried to pull it out, but it wouldn't budge. "It won't come out," one of them said as Sasuke landed down on their gauntlets. Grabbing their gauntlets, he kicked them both in their faces. Both they moved and detached the chain off their gauntlets before dashing away from each other. One went after Sakura, who now had her kunai out in front of her, while the other went for Tajuna, who was being guarded by Kakashi and Sai. Sasuke moved speedily to intercept the mist ninja going for Sakura, placing his guard up against him. Neither mist ninjas however managed to reach their intended targets when Naruto popped between the two ninjas from out of nowhere and grabbed both ninjas with his arms wrapped around their necks in a vice-like grip, thus painfully stopping them in their tracks. All but Kakashi were not only surprised that Naruto was in fact alive and in one piece, but that he single-handedly brought down and defeated two ninjas almost effortlessly. "Nice job, Naruto," Kakashi smiled underneath his mask. "That was a move worthy of myself if I do say so." Naruto. He's alive, Sakura thought happily and relieved that Naruto wasn't dead. "Show off," Sai gave a small smirk at Naruto while Sasuke looked at the blonde with a mixed expression of amazement and jealousy. "That dope did defeat my brother by himself," Sasuke thought in forced acknowledgement. "It shouldn't be that big of a surprise that he took out ninjas who are far weaker than my older brother." That was he, and the other looked to see pieces of chopped logs lying where they thought Naruto was torn to pieces. The dobe used Kawarami no Jutsu, Sasuke thought. "I should have known." Naruto turned and walked off with the two ninjas in hand. A moment later though, Naruto stopped, said, "Oi, emo Sasuke." /n, emo as in emotional. Sasuke scowled at the name Naruto gave him. Turning his head away, Naruto continued, "Nice job in taking on the ninjas. Though I must admit that I didn't think you had it in you to use yourself as a human shield to protect one of your, if not solely, greatest fangirl. I can only wonder what to make out of that, knowing your character." Sasuke scowled at the implication Naruto was making while the blonde simply grinned at the raven-haired Uchiha. Sakura however was in her own world after hearing what Naruto implied. "There's nothing to wonder about, Naruto," inner Sakura yelled happily while jumping up and down. "It's true love. That has to be the only explanation." Sai looked over at Sakura, seeing that she was presently daydreaming. "Must be fantasizing about dickless over there," Sai thought with a neutral facial expression. "Anyway," Naruto continued as he turned to Kakashi and the others, "good job all of you in holding your grounds against these two." "Don't talk as if you're the one in charge, dobe," Sasuke retorted. "You're not the jounin here." "Such ingratitude, and after how I acknowledged your breathtaking performance," Naruto replied in sarcasm much to Sasuke's annoyance. "There's poison in these guys' nails. Should they have cut any of you, we would have had to open up the wound and leach out the poison before it turned fatal." Sasuke said nothing in return as Kakashi turned to Tajuna and said, "I need to talk to you." Naruto went and tied up the two mist ninjas to a tree before Kakashi and the other joined the blonde after tying them up. "These two are Chunin level ninjas from the Mist Academy," Kakashi said. "They're known to keep fighting no matter what." "Tell me, kid," one of the mist ninjas said, "how were you able to detect us?" "Baka," Naruto retorted, "any fool should know that a water puddle shouldn't exist in an area that hasn't had rain fall upon in it for days." "Kakashi Naizen saw the puddle also, but allowed us to fight anyway." "That is true," Kakashi admitted. Tajuna turned to the jounin and interrogated, "Why did you allow those kids to fight when you knew that?" "If I was up to it, I could have killed those two in a blink of an eye." "However," Kakashi explained before looking at the older man suspiciously, "Naruto and I needed to know who the target for those two was." "What do you mean?" Tajuna asked nervously. "In other words," Naruto spoke seriously as he turned to Tajuna, "were you being targeted, or was it somebody from our ninja group?" Kakashi Aizen and the rest of us haven't heard anything about you being targeted by ninjas. Your request was for us to protect you from armed groups like gangs and robbers, Kakashi added. This is a mission that's above B rank. Our job was to support and guard you until you completed the bridge. If ninjas are our enemies then it would be an expensive B rank mission, Naruto finished for him. Kakashi nodded and continued, we're sure you have your reasons, however we're bothered if you lie in your request details. This wasn't part of the mission. Tajuna remained quiet after hearing what Kakashi and Naruto were saying. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura spoke, this mission is out of our league. We should return with more reinforcements for this mission. There will be none of that, Naruto sternly interjected, the four of us requested for a more challenging mission, and I'll be damned to back out of this now. I'm not one who turns his back on someone in need of our help. This mission is still on in spite of the situation that's now present before us. Everyone just looked at Naruto as he went over and punched both mist nins, knocking them instantly unconscious before unteeing them. Grabbing both nins, Naruto started dragging them away. I won't be long, Naruto said as he walked away from the others with the two ninjas being dragged away. Where are you taking them? Sakura asked. Just go on ahead of me. I'll catch up later, was all Naruto said as he took away the ninjas. Sasuke was about to say something when Kakashi spoke up first, it's best if we go on. I'm sure that Naruto will meet up with us in no time. He wasn't made elite genin for nothing after all. Sasuke snarled on hearing that title addressed to Naruto. If anything, he felt that he himself deserved that title and not Naruto. I agree, Sai spoke for the first time after a period of silence, judging from Naruto's abilities, I'm positive that he'll make it back in no time. With no further arguments, the group turned away continued on their way. Elsewhere, Naruto brought the two ninjas to an area out of seeing and hearing range. The two mist nins woke up to see Naruto standing in front of them after he tied them up to a tree again. Alright you two, Naruto said, tell me everything you know. Go to hell you little shit, said one of the mist ninjas. Wordlessly, bit his thumb causing it to bleed. He did some hand seals, before slamming it down to the ground, saying, Kukiyos no Jutsu. There was a puff of smoke and after it cleared, there was a yellow and white female fox wearing purple elbow-length fingerless gloves standing on her two legs in between Naruto and the mist nins. /N, think of Renamin from Digimon 03. I'm too lazy to think of an original character. Naruto-sama, the yellow fox greeted as she turned and bowed to Naruto. Rina, Naruto said, do your thing. I think they'll talk through more influential methods. The fox nodded before turning to the mist nins. She looked at them coldly before going over to them as she flexed her sharp claws. Doing a series of hand seals, Rina said, Kongosuke no Arashi no Jutsu, Diamond Storm Technique, ... What followed next were two screaming men being severely pelted with sharp white diamond-shaped energy shards. You definitely spend too much time with Anko, Naruto, Yondaime commented. I'm just putting Anko-chan's teachings to practice, that's all, Naruto replied mentally before summoning vipers from out of his arms to use on the mist nins, adding to the misery and pain the mist nins were to suffer until they were willing to talk. Meanwhile, just then, huge, terror-filled screams came, and the genins except Sai and one bridge builder nearly jumped out of their skins. What was that? Tajuna asked. I have no idea, Sakura replied. Perhaps Kakashi-sensei knows, Sai said. Naruto's handiwork, Kakashi simply remarked, if anything, those two Chiryunins are very miserable right now. Sakura and the others could only wonder what it was Naruto was doing or did that was enough to make two Chiryunin-level ninjas scream with such fright and pain. A while later, the team and Tajuna found themselves in front of a water shore with a small boat and its captain in front of the group. It was evident that they would have to ride the boat across the water. A moment later, Kakashi turned to see Naruto running and catching up to them. Naruto, Kakashi greeted as the others turned to see the blonde rejoin the group. Naruto, Sakura asked, what did you do with those two ninjas? We all heard loud screams a while ago. I had them tell me everything they knew, Naruto spoke before going cold, before causing their pain to cease. It didn't take long to interpret what Naruto meant. The two mist nins were dead. Sasuke, Sakura, and Tajuna were shocked because of what Naruto said. Sai maintained a neutral expression. They won't be a problem to anyone anymore, Naruto stated. As noted earlier, our client has been withholding information from us. Those mist ninjas I tortured and killed were the two demon brothers. Those two brothers served a man named Mamakai Zabuza who is being hired by someone else, though the mist nins didn't know whom. I'm sure Tajuna here can tell us more. The rank of this mission is in truth higher than C rank. In truth this mission is B rank if not A rank. Tajuna was now noticeably sweating out of sheer nervousness. The kid is right. There's more to this than you all know. About a year and a half ago, Wave Country was a rich and prosperous country. Good to live in and everyone was happy. But then Gato came. Gato? Sasuke inquired. The president of the Gato Corporation, he's one of the wealthiest men in the world, Kakashi explained. Tajuna nodded and continued, officially he appears to be only a businessman, however he's really a criminal, using corruption and violence to take control and smuggle drugs, weapons, and other valuables. He took control over Nami no Kuni by buying all the ports. He controls all sea travel, and on an island that means you control the island itself. He takes all the money and Wave County has become a poor country with no hope. That's why I'm building the bridge. My bridge will connect us with the mainland, and we can prosper again. However, Gato fears my bridge because it would end his tyrannical seize over the country, and he wants to kill me to stop it. Therefore he hired several shinobis. I traveled to Konoha to get protection, but since we're so poor, we couldn't afford something other than a C rank mission. You understand why I had to lie about the mission? It took everything our village saved up as a whole to even afford this type of mission, as we can't pay for anything higher. Our country has been suffering through economic poverty. I see, Naruto said before turning to Kakashi. What do you think, Kakashi Naizen? This mission is clearly A rank, Kakashi stated. This isn't the kind of mission I've trained my team for as of yet. However, we'll continue with the mission on one condition, Tajuna. And what's that? When your country gets back on its feet, you're to pay us the appropriate sum of money, Kakashi said, and Tajuna nodded in agreement. Thank you. They all boarded the boat and started on their way to Nami no Kuni. The ride was spent in silence. Meanwhile Naruto was in deep thought, as though his mind was off elsewhere in another world. His facial expression gave no indication as to what was going through his mind or how he was presently feeling. After a while, they arrived at the shore of their destination and got off the boat to continue on their way into Nami no Kuni by foot. All of you are welcome to stay at my house, as I got 2 extra rooms for both the girl and boys to use and a sofa for one of you 3 guys to sleep in, said Tajuna as he was showing them the way to his house through the trail. I doubt any of you will find a hotel or anywhere else to stay that can promise a roof over your heads due to our village's economic crisis. While walking through the dirt road trail to Tajuna's, Naruto was still contemplating everything that's been happening and hasn't said a word since the boat ride. Sensing a presence, Naruto snapped out of his train of thoughts as he pulled out his kunai from and threw it into a bush that was moving slightly, nearly hitting a defenseless white rabbit now backed up into a tree. The end result had earned a yelling Sakura, who attempted to hit him only for her fist to be effortlessly grabbed by Naruto in the process. Something's erroneous with this picture, Naruto noted while looking into the direction he threw his kunai. It's a hot summer day and the color of that rabbit is white like snow. It shouldn't be out with that kind of fur. Which means... Everyone get down, Kakashi said quickly while he grabbed Tajuna, Naruto grabbed Sai, and Sasuke pulled down Sakura. Everyone got down to the ground in time as a large sword missed their heads. It appears that this new bunch is more aware of the dangers before them. No matter, you're all going to die here, said the dark voice of the man who appeared before the group standing with his giant sword. Mamakai Zabuza, the demon of the bloody mist, I presume, Naruto calmly said as he and the others stood back up. Yes, and just whom might you be, boy, said Zabuza inquired. I'm impressed that you know of me. We had a little run-in with 2 of your friends, Naruto replied, said for them their run-in with me was their last. Even Kisame gave me a better fight. Zabuza's eyes widened by this, he now knew who the blonde was. You must be Yondaime Hokage's son, Senju Uzumaki. Naruto, Zabuza said. I'm impressed that you know of me, Naruto said, repeating Zabuza's exact earlier words. Zabuza said, yes, rumors about your battle with Kisame have spread throughout all of Kirigakure. Amazingly, as skeptic as I am about these rumors, you've made quite an impression to everyone in holding your grounds against a former member of Kirigakure no Shinobi Gatana Nananinshu and against Itachi. Sasuke growled jealously at this. The very thought that Naruto's name and reputation and his encounter with Itachi and Kisame reached as far as Kirigakure angered him. Your skeptics are rather understandable, Naruto remarked, seeking to draw needless attention from himself. Whatever rumors you or anyone else might have heard about my ordeals with Kisame and Itachi were more than likely exaggerated. Itachi could have killed me, his mistake however was that he got careless and too sure of himself. Kakashi Naizen can testify to that. Sasuke now found it hard to believe that Naruto didn't brag about how his reputation against a former member of the Shinobi Gatana Nananinshu and Itachi became that wide known, but instead refuted it. Copycat Ninja Kakashi, Zabuza stated, I heard of you as well, though I question if what they say of your abilities are true. Naruto, help the others keep Tajuna safe. I'll handle this, stated Kakashi, lifting up his head protector and revealing the Sharingan. The Sharingan, thought Sasuke with a puzzled expression. Zabuza said, letting out a gravelly chuckle, during my days in the hidden village of the Mist's assassination squad, our bingo books had your information. It also said, the ninja who copied over 1,000 jutsus. Capture or kill by whatever means possible. Is Kakashi-sensei that great of a shinobi? Sakura asked herself. I don't understand. The Sharingan is bloodline limit that appears only in the Uchiha clan. Could he be? How could Kakashi-sensei have the Sharingan? Sasuke said silently. Enough talk, said Zabuza, I need to kill that old geezer and fast. What's your role in all this? Kakashi inquired. I was hired to kill the old man over there. Hand him over and I'll let the rest of you go, Zabuza said confidently. Naruto snorted and Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai formed a ring around Tajuna. Kakashi stood his grounds before Zabuza, as did Naruto. But it seems I have to kill you first, Kakashi. So be it, Zabuza said, held his large sword and vanished. He reappeared on the water not far from them. Ninpo, Kirigakure no Jutsu, Zabuza said, and the fog thickened, making sight almost impossible. Damn, Sakura, I can't see anything. Be quiet. He'll kill you before you know it if you don't keep your voice down, Naruto said. Who is he? Sakura asked. Mamakai Zabuza is an exiled shinobi from the village hidden in the mist, Naruto explained. He killed over 100 ninjas, and he wasn't even a genin at the time. He's known as the Demon of the Bloody Mist, and trust me, you don't want to get in a fight with him. How do you know this? Sakura asked. I forced the information out of the two demon brothers I tortured earlier today, Naruto answered with no emotions, causing Sakura to shudder in fear of him. Mamakai Zabuza is also renowned for his silent killing jutsus. Silent killing is a way of killing that is executed in a flash and in absolute silence. In some cases, you are dead before you realize it, Kakashi explained, so don't let your guard down. Team 7 tightened their grip on the kunaus they had pulled out. 8 places, came Zabuza's voice, seemingly from everywhere. Huh, Sakura said. The larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular vein, kidney, brain, and heart. Now, which vital organ do you want to get struck at? Zabuza asked, bloodlust filling his voice. Kakashi sent out a wave of his own killer intent, so much that even the 3 genins under his charge felt disturbed by it. What is this feeling? Sakura asked, her voice quivering. This is the feeling that comes when 2 strong ninjas do battle. Their bloodlust, it is so great that it can make weak-minded people commit suicide to escape, Naruto explained calmly while being unaffected by the waves of killing intent. Zabuza suddenly appeared right in the middle of the ring, in front of Tajuna. Die, Zabuza yelled and swung his sword, but Kakashi was fast enough. He pushed his 3 genins out of the way and stopped the sword while stabbing Zabuza with a kunai. Ugh! Zabuza said, but instead of blood, water poured out of the wound. Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai lay on the ground, staring at Zabuza. Naruto's voice snapped them out of it. Mizu Bunshin, Naruto said, and Zabuza smirked before collapsing into a puddle of water. Another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi. Die! He yelled again as he swung his sword and cut Kakashi in 2. But Kakashi turned into water as well. A Mizu Bunshin, Zabuza said in surprise and felt a kunao at his throat. It's over, Kakashi commanded. Sensei, Sai, and Sakura yelled happily. Then Zabuza started to laugh. He copied my jutsu. It's over? I don't think so, Zabuza said and dissolved into water. Another Mizu Bunshin, Sakura yelled surprised. Another Zabuza appeared behind Kakashi with a downward strike with his sword. Kakashi used his kunao to block the massive sword. Zabuza tried to strike Kakashi with his own kunao, however Kakashi jumped away. Zabuza followed up with slashes that Kakashi barely evaded. Kakashi threw his kunao towards Zabuza, but he dodged it. Kakashi then vanished and appeared on top of the water, doing seals. Zabuza smirked and vanished. Kakashi suddenly jumped over some shurikens launched at him and crouched down on top of the water when he landed. Zabuza appeared behind him. Baka. Suro no Jutsu, water prison technique, Zabuza said. A blue sphere formed around Kakashi with Zabuza holding onto the sphere. You can't get out of this prison. With you moving around, I'll have a much harder time killing the old man. So just kick back and watch me kill your precious students, Zabuza said, and a Mizu Bunshin appeared in front of him. But before it could take one step, it was destroyed by several kunao thrown by Sakura, Sai, and Suzuki from different directions. If you think it will be that easy, then you are wrong, Suzuki said. Zabuza huffed and created more Mizu Bunshins. Well, you aren't as useless as I thought, but you can't beat this many Bunshin, Zabuza said. But then two of the Bunshins dissolved after being hit by a couple of shurikens in courtesy of Naruto. Hey Kakashi Naizen. When do you plan on getting your ass out of that sphere? Naruto yelled. Zabuza's eyes widened when Kakashi in his prison popped away. Sorry Zabuza, but did you think I would let that jutsu hit me? Please, I know it myself and recognized it immediately. Don't underestimate me. Kakashi's voice came from everywhere and suddenly the water under the Mizu Bunshins rose up and destroyed them. Then Kakashi appeared in front of Zabuza. He threw a punch towards Zabuza's face, but he evaded, countering with a kick towards Kakashi's stomach. It connected and Kakashi popped out in a cloud of smoke. What? Kage Bunshin, Zabuza was surprised. But his surprise turned to fright when he heard Kakashi's voice call out, Suten, Sukouden no Jutsu, water shark missile technique, ... A shark made of water speed towards Zabuza, who jumped away while doing seals. Kakashi also did the same seals as Zabuza and in unison they called out, Suten, Suiryuadon no Jutsu, water dragon bullet, ... Twin dragons of water rose up from the water under the combatants, and battled for supremacy. They ended up destroying each other. When the water dragons were destroyed, a slightly tired-looking Zabuza stood in front of Kakashi, who grinned although his face didn't show any humor. It's time to die Zabuza, Kakashi said and formed some seals so fast that Zabuza couldn't keep up. A masked person watching, did see the seals however, and prepared for Kakashi's move. Suten, Daibakufu no Jutsu, Grand Waterfall, Kakashi said. The water below him started to spin before rising and forming a spinning funnel towards Zabuza. What? This can't be, Zabuza yelled before he was swallowed by the water. The funnel of water continued to spin and move through the forest, Zabuza being thrown into different directions inside the water before finally getting slammed into a tree. The masked person disappeared in a swirling mist. Several kunao flew and lodged themselves in Zabuza's arms and legs. Now you die, Kakashi said. Suddenly two long needles flew through the air and struck Zabuza. He fell down with a shocked expression. Hey, you were right. He did die, a masked person said, standing on a tree branch not far from where Zabuza fell. Kakashi appeared next to Zabuza and checked his life signs. He really is dead, Kakashi said and looked at the masked person, who bowed at him. As soon as Kakashi checked the dead man for a pulse to confirm it, a mist hunter ninja appeared to take care of the body. I am most appreciative of you handling Zabuza for me as I don't think I could have handled him on my own. If you'll excuse me, I'll take the body out of your hands, said the hunter nin, earning a suspicious gaze from Naruto as she picked up the body. Just a moment, why don't I help you in properly disposing the body? Both here and now, said Naruto as he started gathering chakra into his hands, making the hunter nin apparently panic before quickly disappearing with the body in a swirl of wind and leaves. Just as I suspected, Naruto said lowly to himself, that was no hunter nin as she would have taken care of the body then and there. Which means Zabuza is still alive, Yondaime said, but from the wounds he sustained he should be out for at least a week, giving me time to prepare you. When Zabuza returns it will be with more help than that fake hunter nin by his side. Kakashi collapsed to the ground before Sasuke and the others ran over to him. The Sharingan is amazing, Naruto said, however it puts a lot of strain on the body and it drains a lot of chakra. Going over to Kakashi, Naruto bent down and lifted him up. Sai came over and helped him carry Kakashi. Thanks, Naruto said to Sai, who nodded his head in return. After what you guys just did, it would be my honor to have you guys stay with me, said Tajuna, who was very impressed with how the situation was handled as they all headed to his house to rest and regain their strength that they had lost in the battle. You know Naruto, Kakashi whispered into the blonde's ear, during my battle with Zabuza, you could have jumped in at any time. What? Naruto retorted back in a whisper, and missed the chance to see you in action. As if. 3 hours later. They arrived at Tajuna's place, a nice plain house by the riverside. Waiting there was Tajuna's daughter Tsunami, a woman in her 30s with long dark hair and an attractive, but stern face. Tsunami. I'm so glad to see you. They're the good ninjas from Konoha that protected me, Tajuna said and introduced the team from Konoha, each of them bowing back in response. Thank you for helping father, Tsunami said smilingly. Kakashi, though exhausted, nodded along with Naruto, while the genin beamed with pride at Tajuna's next words. They're really strong, and they didn't even depart when they learned that they will be up against really strong enemies here, Tajuna said. But why you all decided to continue the mission? Tsunami asked as they headed into the house. We only had enough for a C rank, and this must be more than that. Forsaking and abandoning people in need is dishonorable and cowardly. Below courage there is nothing. Words from our renowned Yondaime Hokage, Naruto said seriously. Tajuna and Tsunami looked a little mystified but didn't ask any more questions. Kakashi Naizen needs a place to rest, Naruto said. I doubt I'll be able to move for a week, Kakashi replied. I have 2 extra rooms for you all, Tajuna said. The young girl can sleep in one of the rooms while your sensei and 2 of the boys can share the room and one can have the living room couch to sleep on for the night. That'll do. I'll stay on guard duty over the house during the night to ensure everyone gets some rest, said Naruto, knowing he could make a cage bushin if he had to and then sleep by a tree with summoned foxes to watch over him and the house, though the others, except Kakashi, weren't aware of his fox summoning contract with Kyuubi. Naruto and Sai carried Kakashi to one of the spare rooms Tajuna was leading them to. A while later, Naruto, Sakura, Sai, and Sasuke were in the room with Kakashi as he rested. Tajuna and Tsunami later entered the room while the others watched Naruto check on Kakashi's condition, healing whatever injuries the Jounin sustained. While healing Kakashi, Naruto was in deep thought and remained silent for most of the time. The others noticed and got a little worried when Naruto didn't say a thing to anyone. Naruto? Is something wrong? Sakura asked. Naruto seemed to snap out of his thoughts and looked at her before turning to the others. Question Sakura, what is a hunter nin? Naruto asked. Special ninjas that hunt down and dispose of missing nins, Sakura replied. And how do they dispose of their target? Naruto asked. They kill their target and destroy the body, Sasuke replied. Where? Naruto asked. I don't know, Sakura and Sai replied at the same time. How should we know? The only hunter nin we have seen took Zabuza's body away, Sasuke said, and Naruto nodded. That's the point, Naruto said. Usually hunter nins dispose of the body on the spot, and if she needed evidence, she only had to take Zabuza's head and sword. Also, the weapon was a long needle, which isn't very dangerous. No, that hunter nin didn't kill Zabuza, she helped him. Zabuza is alive. What? The Sakura and Tajuna yelled. Sasuke and Sai just stayed quiet and listened. But Kakashi said he was dead, Tajuna said. I did, Kakashi admitted weakly, but it's possible to put someone in a near-death state. A hunter nin knows the human anatomy very well, and it would be easy to make someone seem like they were dead. Naruto nodded before standing up. He is alive, and he will be back soon, Naruto said. I should think we have about a week or 2, based on the injuries and how long it takes to get better from a near-death state. Kakashi sat up and looked at his genins. Sensei, how are you going to prepare for this before it's too late? You can't move for a while, Sakura asked. Kakashi chuckled and replied, I'm going to make you, Sasuke and Sai go through some training. Sasuke took note that Naruto was left out of the equation. What about Naruto? Sasuke inquired, is he going to take part of our training session? Naruto is not my student, therefore it's not my responsibility to train him, Kakashi said, and like I said before, he wasn't made elite genin for nothing. Sasuke scowled again at that title. It made him feel outranked by the person whom he always regarded as the village clown. But sensei, Sakura asked, even if we train, it won't be very helpful. The enemy gave you problems even with you using the Sharingan. Sakura, Kakashi said, all of you helped me out during my battle with Zabuza. You're all growing rapidly. An 8-year-old boy wearing green overalls, a hat that shadowed his eyes and a depressed attitude walked into the room. Everyone turned to look at the boy. Who are you? Naruto asked. Inari, where were you? Tajuna asked as the boy went over to the old man and hugged him. I'm home, Grandpa, Inari said. Tsunami scolded, Inari, say hello to them. These are the ninjas who escorted your grandpa. Inari turned to look at Kakashi and the group. The young boy snorted, it doesn't matter. They will die anyway. There's no way they can win against Gato. What's that? Naruto said indignantly. If you don't want to die, then you should go home, Inari replied as he started walking away. Where are you going? Tajuna asked. Inari stopped and said, I'm going to watch the ocean. The boy continued walking and went on his way, leaving the other behind. Ah, forgive him. He has been like that since an unfortunate incident some time ago, Tajuna said. Later. Naruto was walking down from the room they had when he heard sobbing coming from Inari's room. Huh, Naruto asked himself and stealthily opened Inari's door. The little boy's room was simple, it had a bed in a corner and a desk in front of a window. On top of the desk Inari sat, crying, and staring at a picture. Naruto walked up behind the boy, too silent to be noticed, and looked at the picture. It was a man with dark hair, a kind smile and a cross-shaped scar on his jaw. It was clear that the man meant a lot to Inari. Naruto didn't know what to do other than try and comfort the boy. He laid a hand on his shoulder and Inari nearly jumped out of his skin. What? Oh, it's you. What do you want? Inari asked coldly. Who is that? Naruto asked, pointing to the picture. Inari began, that's none of your dash. If you don't want to tell me, fine, but you will never feel better than you did a moment ago if you keep it inside, Naruto interrupted before exiting. Inari looked at him before looking at the picture. Tears started to fall again. The following day, Kakashi, using crutches, was in the forest with Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai. He was going to have them practice chakra control by having them practice tree climbing, /n. By this time all of you should know this, so I'll spare you all the details. Although Naruto healed Kakashi's injuries, however, the Jounin was still weakened from the depletion of chakra when he used the Sharingan against Zabuza. Naruto, since you have already done and mastered this exercise, you'll guard Tajuna today at the bridge while I help the others with tree walking, said Kakashi while standing high on the side of one of the trees he walked up on. We'll switch between guard duty from time to time. You have the first watch, so make tracks. See you guys later, said Naruto as he went on his way. Sasuke and the others were perplexed, unable to determine when Naruto learned and mastered tree walking when they didn't know such a jutsu exist. After Naruto was out of sight. This would be a good time to practice your taijutsu and ninjutsu, Naruto, Yondaime suggested. Create some cage bushins and send one of them to Tajuna and another to guard Tsunami and Inari while you and the rest of your clones head to another sector of this forest to train. Naruto did as Yondaime advised. One of his clones went over to where Tajuna was and another hurried over to where Tsunami and her son were. When that was all done, the blonde and the rest of his clones hurried into the forest and trained. Later that day, Naruto yawned while stretching slightly. He had been guarding Tajuna alone for most of the day, since Kakashi had gone to train his team. His twin was keeping his watch on Tsunami and Inari. So, Naruto spent the majority of the day alone, watching the workers on the bridge. You look bored. Where are the others? Tajuna asked, briefly stopping in his work. They're training. Kakashi Naizen said we'll switch between guarding you, and obviously I got chosen first. Just then Kakashi appeared next to Naruto. How's everything? Kakashi asked, to Tajuna, or Naruto, he didn't tell. Boring, Naruto replied. Tajuna chuckled and got back to his work. That's guard duty in a nutshell, Kakashi retorted. They both watched as one of the workers walked up to Tajuna. After a brief conversation, Tajuna yelled, "What? You want to quit?" Kakashi and Naruto looked at each other before Kakashi sighed. That's right. With the danger of Geto, people would understandably fear for their lives, the worker said. Naruto frowned at the man's cowardice but remained silent. This was going to be a long week, if not two. Chapter 20, Ordeals. 10 days earlier, in Uegakuer no Sato. The Tsuchikage was in his office doing his share of paperwork, and like any other kage, it was their natural and yet to be beaten enemy. The pile of paperwork and forms just kept on coming. Moments later, a young female IWA jounin entered his office. She was a dark brown-haired female no older than 15 with her long sleek hair going down and reaching her backside. The girl was dressed in the standard Uegakuer jounin uniform and wore a tan-brown vest over her jounin vest that had black kanji written on the back of the vest, which read Shining Stone. She stood in attention before her cage. Tsuchikage-sama, she greeted as she bowed in respects to him. The Tsuchikage nodded to her and said, "What's your report?" From what I've been gathering, the girl began speaking, the target shares similar characteristics and features to our once most hated enemy. However, I've yet to confirm anything besides the fact that he lives in Konoha with his mother the Yondaime Hokage and boldly dresses up as him. The young girl was careful not to speak his name before the Tsuchikage, knowing that the mere mention of his name is expressly taboo in Uegakuer. Regardless, Tsuchikage said, I want as much information on this genin as you can get. I suspect that this supposed genin is who I believe him to be. But sir, the girl spoke, how can such a thing be possible? That man has been dead for over 12 years. From what my earlier spies reported years ago, no one has ever found his body or whatever was left of him on the battlefield after his battle with Kuwabai no Yoko, Tsuchikage replied. Do you suppose an S-rank forbidden rebirth jutsu was used? The young jounin asked. I don't know, but I'm not taking any chances, said the Tsuchikage. Find and retrieve the boy, alive if possible. This is an A-rank mission. The kid is a mere genin fresh out of the academy, the girl remarked. He shouldn't be that big a problem. The boy may be a genin, the Tsuchikage remarked, but I trust that you won't underestimate him. There have been several rumors about this particular genin, though I do question their authenticity. The girl remained silent. You're the one jounin available for this mission, Shining Stone, the Tsuchikage said, plus I trust that you'll see this mission through. Dismissed. The girl nodded before turning and leaving the office to perform her assignment. While on her way out of the cage building, she thought smugly, this genin can't be anywhere near my league. I'll have this mission done in no time. I'm not the Shining Stone for nothing. Present day, at Zabuza's hideout. In a cone-shaped house in the middle of the forest, Zabuza was laying and resting in his bed with a blanket over him. He did not like the fact that he had lost to Kakashi. Moments later, a short man dressed in a business suit and two samurais entered the room and went over to where Zabuza was. So the mighty demon of the bloody mist is crippled after facing a few kids and some ninja. I'm starting to believe that I'm not getting my money's worth when it comes to paying you, Zabuza. Perhaps I should just have you killed immediately and spare myself the pain of losing my money, said the short man with sunglasses with a cane in hand whose name was Gato. Gato walked over to the masked ninja, reaching out to strangle Zabuza where he was when a figure came out of nowhere and stood before the short man as tightly held his arms before twisting it hard. You will not harm Zabuza. I won't permit it, said the young female hunter nin who was no longer masked. Much to the older man's surprise, it was a young girl. The girl had a pretty face, dark brown eyes, dark hair that was tied up in a bun on top of her head, except two bangs hanging down and framing her face. She wore a green shirt with brown pants and a long, brown belt. Get your hands off of our boss, as one the two samurai bodyguards as they were about to do something when she grabbed a dagger from her pocket and threw it at them. Seeing that the samurai were momentarily distracted as they dodged the dagger that hit the wall, she reached for two of her needles and threw each one at their arms and hitting a pressure point. This in effect rendered their struck arms numb and unmovable. "I missed your vital points on purpose," she warned, "so don't test me. You brat. I expect both you and Zabuza to finish the job you started. I will not accept failure. Get the job over and done, or suffer the consequences," said an angry Geto who now exited the room with his bodyguards while rubbing his injured arm. "Haku, you know you didn't have to do that for me. I could have taken care of it myself if worse came to worse," said Zabuza as he held onto a kunai under the bed sheet ready to use and kill the man if it came to it. "I was aware of that, but as your instrument I must always protect my master in spite of your circumstance," Haku said with a smile. Zabuza sighed, "I will be better soon. When I'm back to full strength I'll see to it that Kakashi suffers for putting me in this condition. Not only that, but I'll kill his students one by one." The blonde one among them looked more dangerous than the others, Haku said. "He was ready to finish you off had I not taken you away from there. That blonde kid is Naruto." "Really?" Haku said with interest, "so he's the one that we've heard about from the rumors." "Haku," Zabuza warned, "be cautious against Naruto. He's not like the other genins if he was able to take out and kill the two demon brothers without any trouble." The girl simply nodded. 2 days later. It's been 3 days since Naruto and Team 7 arrived at Nami no Kuni. Kakashi was beginning to feel better after his depletion of chakra and his genins were still training. A day earlier, Naruto learned that Sakura punched out a man she wrongly took for a pervert trying to grope her butt, when in actuality he was trying to steal her purse. Sai added his 2 cents by saying how the man most likely mistaken her butt for her face when he went to take a further look. This of course earned the paled skin genin a busted lip and bruised cheek, both of which Naruto healed. It was after spending the day in the village did the genins fully understanding the seriousness of the situation Nami no Kuni was in because of Geto. During the 3 days, Naruto was with Tajuna, helping him with the bridge project like the other workers who were brave enough to work on the bridge. Naruto chose to work for free, acknowledging that the other men were more in need of money than he was. During this time, he also used Kage Bushins to help with the bridge project, though Tajuna was reluctant to allow Naruto to use his clones at first. But seeing the situation with the few workers he had left after a couple of them quit out of fear, Tajuna allowed Naruto's clones to help out and speed up the process in constructing the bridge. Later that evening, Sasuke and Sai returned an hour later completely exhausted with the exception of Sakura, since she had almost near-perfect chakra control. During that time she was sent to watch over the house while being on guard and watching over Tsunami and Inari, who would every once in a while be seen sitting alone by the dock or strolling around with depressed expression. When Naruto, Kakashi, and the other genins returned home they were welcomed to the smell of warm home cooking. "You're all back," said a happy Tsunami as she put the food on the table. "How did your ninja training go?" "It went rather well," Sai responded, "though I must confess that practicing tree walking requires very good chakra control." "Dub," Sasuke said as he turned to Naruto, "how was your day guarding Tajuna?" "I'm sure it was frustrating getting weaker being unable to train." "Actually it was quite productive really," Naruto said as he took a seat by the table. "You see Emo Sasuke, I have the capacity to do what many jounins can't do and not tire out from chakra exhaustion. To elaborate, earlier today I summoned a small army of Kage Bushins and assigned them their jobs from guarding and protecting Tajuna and the workers constructing the bridge. I even had some work alongside the workers to help speed up the bridge building project. To perform that kind of jutsu requires a great deal of chakra control and chakra which many don't possess. Therefore, my day wasn't a waste at all, in fact performing and practicing that jutsu made me stronger." Sasuke scowled at the blonde who simply ignored him in return. Kakashi pretended not to pay attention to the tension between two boys. He knew from the start that Sasuke, though it's clearly one-sided, had always regarded Naruto as his rival and someone he strongly desires to prove superior to. Moments later, almost as if on cue, Inari entered with a bitter look on his face as he looked up slightly up to see the tired-out genins and their sensei eating their dinner. "You're wasting your time," said Inari with tears falling down his face and with anger at them. "Why do you all constantly train knowing you're fighting a losing battle? None of you know anything about this place and yet you all are helping us anyway for the sake of getting paid. None of you know what it means to suffer. That's enough, Naruto said, sternly cutting the boy off as he rose off his seat and stared Inari hard as though his very eyes were piercing through his soul. The voice that came out of Naruto's mouth was enough to silence and grab everyone's attention as they all turned to look at him. Naruto's voice had a form of authority that none but Kakashi could comprehend. Inari cringed in fear from the feeling the blonde pierced through him the moment he stared straight at him with those hard blue eyes of his. Kakashi saw the look in Naruto's eyes and knew of only one man who had that kind of effect. That's the same look Sensei would give before scolding me and the others back then, Kakashi thought as he recalled the couple of times Yondaime had scolded him, Rin and Obito, for their mistakes during their days as a genin cell. Inari got up and dismissed himself to his room upstairs. Sighing, Tajuna gave a detailed account to everyone about what had happened with Inari and the man who became his surrogate father named Kaiza. The old man explained how Kaiza saved Inari from drowning one day after the boy was bullied by the older boys of the village. From that day, Tajuna elaborated, Kaiza quickly became a hero in Inari's eyes and the two were inseparable. Many others started seeing Kaiza as a new hope for the people, seeing how he possessed such a carefree yet courageous heart and spirit which inspired many as he helped wherever he could. Everything was going so well for everyone, Tajuna continued before giving a set expression, but later Geto and his men came to our island and took over. Kaiza was the only brave enough to stand up to his cruelty. He was later captured and Geto and his thugs had Kaiza publicly killed in front of everyone in Inari. It crushed the poor boy's heart. Adding to this terrible tragedy was the fact that my daughter Tsunami was planning on marrying and settling down with Kaiza and have another child with him. Like my grandson, my daughter was heartbroken by that tragic event and she cried many times thinking about how her son lost his birth father and surrogate father who would have loved to become his new father. Everyone was silent after hearing Tajuna's story. Tsumani wiped away the few tears that spilled out of her eyes remembering what happened. Sai and Sasuke didn't say a word as Sakura gave a sympathetic look at Tajuna and Tsumani. A moment later. Please excuse me as I have to go talk to Inari, said Naruto calmly as he went upstairs to Inari's room. Sakura was about to follow after Naruto when Kakashi said, let them be. But Kakashi-sensei, Sakura was about to argue when Kakashi raised his hand to silence her. Trust Naruto, Sakura, Kakashi said, I'm sure he'll resolve this in an appropriate manner. He won't do anything rash, I promise. Sakura reluctantly complied as she sat back down. She decided to trust Kakashi's words and leave matters to Naruto. It amazed Sakura that her sensei displayed such trust and faith in Naruto. Meanwhile in Inari's room. Inari sat there on his bed holding a picture of a smiling man with a small cross-shaped scar under his chin without. The man looked so happy and carefree. You were so strong, Inari said with a tear-covered face, why can't I be strong like you? Because you lack the will to swallow your hurt and fight for what you truly believe in, said Naruto who was now standing next to Inari who turned to look at him. Inari, Naruto said calmly, I will not deny that you went through a painful experience, but you're selfishly going at it as though you're the only one who's suffering. You think your mother and grandfather take pleasure in seeing you behavior the way you do? Quite the opposite really, in fact, you're the one who's adding more to their pain by your constant moping and pessimistic attitude. I know you truly loved that man Inari, but so did your mother and grandfather. What you should be doing is feeling grateful that in spite of the ordeals you went through you still have your family there for you. Believe me, I know people who suffered far worse than you, me being one of them. And what do you know about suffering? Inari sneered, from what Grandpa told me, you're the son of a Hokage in your village. You never had to go through the kind of hard times like me, Grandpa and Mom did. Everyone in my home village knows me as the village clown and prankster, someone who always give them something to laugh about, even if the joke is on me, Naruto said as he continued with a still calm but now stern demeanor. What they don't know is that my antics of being the village clown and prankster are my methods of maintaining my sanity. But you're right though, I didn't go through what you and your folks did, I go through something different and far worse every day for as long as I can remember. Inari looked at Naruto as he continued calmly, unlike me, you didn't have to go through the experience of being an infant that was only a week old being kidnapped by a traitorous ninja from your own village seeking to sell you to village enemies because of whose son you were. Unlike me, you don't have to go through the experience of always worrying if you'll wake up the next morning to see another sunrise because you have enemy villages who want your death because of who you are and what clan you're from. Unlike me, you don't have to worry about strong and vicious S-class criminals who are after you and will use anyone and anything as instruments for the sole purpose of getting to you because of something you know that you refuse to give them. Unlike me, you don't have to worry about the many enemies your parents made over the course of their lives coming after you for revenge. Unlike me, you won't always have enemies. Unlike me, you don't have to live a life that's a constant fight. Unlike me, you don't suffer from horrific nightmares that would have driven a sane person to madness. If I let my guard for just a moment, I'll lose my life. The young boy was stupefied at what Naruto was telling him so calmly and collectively. It was so unreal to the dark-haired boy. How? Inari asked with a dumbfounded expression, how could you go on through such a harsh life? I learned to deal with it, Naruto replied, rather than whine about the hard times and problems I have to live with. I learned to count my blessings and remember that I have family and friends who are there for me. I grew fond of these precious people in my life so much that I seek to protect them from my nightmares and enemies. It's also one of the reasons why I push myself so hard to become stronger in order to become Hokage of my village. It's not to prove that I'm better or stronger than anyone else, it's because I value everyone and everything that's precious to me. They're worth protecting, with my life, and I'll fight and kill anyone who dares to bring harm to them. Naruto turned and headed towards the door of the house. Before exiting, Naruto turned halfway to Inari and said, count your blessings, Inari. If you truly want to make that man in the picture proud of you if he were still alive, then I suggest you find someone or something you value and fight to protect it. With those words, Naruto exited the room, leaving Inari alone with his thoughts. The young boy wiped away his tears as he stared at the picture and contemplated on everything Naruto just told him. The following night, Sasaki and Sai had finally mastered tree climbing after much effort. Needless to say, the boys were most pleased with their success, though they returned back exhausted and in want of food and rest. A few days later, Haku stood up and walked over to the window. Releasing the bun, her hair fell down to just under her shoulder blades. 12 minutes later, she left the cone-shaped house and went walking into the forest. She now wore a pink kimono with red cherry blossoms on and brown sandals. She carried a basket and was humming slightly to herself. After an hour of walking, she came upon what she had searched for. Kneeling down, Haku started to pick medical herbs. Soon her basket was almost full. A bird landed on her shoulder, and she smiled at it, cooing slightly at it before returning to her task. Haku was startled when the bird suddenly flew off. Feeling slightly down, she followed where it was going. She saw the bird land next to a boy. The boy had blonde, spiky but stringy hair, and a Konoha forehead protector. He was dressed similar to a Konoha jounin with black fingerless leather gloves and wore a white vest with red flame designs that went past his waist and a little more than halfway to his kneecaps. On the back of his vest was the red kanji, Konoha no Nidaime Senko, or Konoha's second flash. Haku got up and walked towards him. The bird flew off, as if thinking that the girl was going to kill the boy. Instead she crouched down in front of him and shook him awake. "Hey, you'll catch a cold sleeping here," she said kindly. Naruto was awoken from his slumber by a gentle nudge. He opened his eyes and looked up at the pretty girl his age. Sitting up, he rubbed his eyes before looking at her. "Hello Nisan, what are you doing here?" Naruto inquired. Haku smiled and gestured to her basket. "I'm picking medical herbs," Haku said with a smile on her face. "Ah, I see. By the way, I'm Haku," the girl greeted. "I'm Naruto," he replied in return. "Are you a shinobi?" asked Haku. "I am, so what of it?" Naruto replied. "Well, what were you doing out here?" Haku asked. "I was training before I decided to take a break," the blonde replied straightforwardly. "I must have fallen asleep till you woke me." "Why would you be training?" the girl asked. "You look very strong already." Naruto smiled before replying seriously but still cheerfully, "Maybe, but I want to become even stronger so that I can become the Hokage of my village." "So, you train because of your precious people," Haku said. "Wow," Naruto replied, "you're the first person to have ever read me like an opened book. Were my motives that obvious to you?" Haku couldn't help but smile brighter and blush at what Naruto said to her. She spoke, I believe that you have people precious to you and you're working harder to become stronger to fight to protect them. I believe that if you have someone to protect, you can be truly strong. It's clear that we have a common understanding of fighting for those we seek to protect, Naruto said. One of the selfless and bravest things a person can do is sacrifice their life for someone you care about. I see, said Haku as she smiled before she stood up from where she had crouched down and took her basket. You will become strong then, she said and walked away. Naruto watched her retreating form until she was completely out of sight. Turning, Naruto started walking off away from the scene, heading back to the house where Kakashi and the others were. I'm sure you knew who she was, Naruto, Yondaime said. I know she's that fake hunter Nin, Naruto replied. I have heightened senses after all, don't I? But there was no point in alerting her to the fact that I'm aware of this since she didn't pose a threat to me, not that I allowed my guard to drop. No sooner had he thought that statement, a kunai came speeding for his head. Sensing the danger, he immediately dashed out of the way as the kunai lodged itself into one of the nearby trees. What was I saying about not allowing my guard to drop? Naruto thought while going into full shinobi mode. Impressive for a genin fresh out of the academy, said a new young feminine voice. Most would have died from that surprise attack. Naruto looked up to see a girl his age standing high up on top of tree branch. The girl grinned before she flipped and landed down gracefully on her feet. Upon standing back and facing him, Naruto got a clear look at the very attractive girl in front of him before noticing the symbol that her headband carried. Yondaime went on full alert on seeing that symbol. She's from Iwagakure, Yondaime warned with no form of humor in his voice. So you're a kunoichi from Iwagakure, Naruto said, knowing fully well that Konoha and Iwa have a form of hatred for each other, especially after what Yondaime did to them during the Iwa-Konoha war many years ago. That memory was still fresh in the minds of the Iwa nins who lived during that time. Yes, I am, the girl said. My name is Ryota, but my alias is Shining Stone. Naruto said nothing but kept his guard up. And you're Senju Uzumaki, Naruto, son of Yondaime Hokage, Ryota said, and you're also the idiot who self-proclaimed himself Konoha's second Flash. Scoffed, as if you're the second coming of Yondaime Hokage. I don't have time for you, girl, Naruto said coldly. Crawl back underneath the rock from where you came. The kunoichi snarled at Naruto's insult to both her and Iwa. You fool, Ryota said, I was thinking of bringing you back alive. But I think I'll just return with your corpse instead. Thanks for your invitation to Iwa in a body bag, but I plan on living past today, Naruto shot back as he got into a fighting position. Naruto, Yondaime warned, don't use any of my fighting stances or attacks. We don't want to alert Iwagakure further about you than they already seem to know. It would be trouble should they discover that you're both my Incubi's container. Naruto mentally nodded in understanding. Before Naruto did anything else, Ryota did a complex series of hand seals before her body glowed in mystic chakra. Moments later, Naruto detected power building up in her. Iwa no Shikara, rock strength, Ryota said as she felt the power and changes coursing through her body. This is trouble, Naruto thought as she suddenly dashed at him speedily and leaped into the air before coming down straight at him. Seeing her coming, Naruto jumped out of the way as she punched into the ground with tremendous force, breaking the ground apart as earth pieces and particles came flying at him. After being assaulted by the flying earth pieces, Naruto landed down on the broken up ground some distance away from the girl. This girl must have excellent chakra control to be able to perform such an attack, Naruto thought. It's almost like fighting Kaa-chan, only my age. The girl in turn smirked at Naruto with a confident look. Haughtily she said, does the amount of my strength intimidate you? Clearly the gap between our abilities are dash. Her speech was cut short when Naruto punched the ground and sent a massive force straight at her. She quickly jumped and evaded the attack as she landed down to the right of where she once was standing. She turned to Naruto, who was looking at her with a calm but serious expression. That one attack matched the one I used just now, Ryota thought in shock. I wasn't expecting this. He must have as good of control of his chakra as I do. And he didn't even use any jutsus or hand seals for it. Rather than being angry at this revelation, the kunoichi instead smiled brightly at him, which caught Naruto off guard, though he didn't dare drop off guard. Why are you smiling at me like that? Naruto asked cautiously. I waited a long time to face off against someone who could stand a chance in giving me a good fight, Ryota answered. Some of the shinobis back in my village are afraid to fight me, especially since I'm an IWA prodigy. When I accepted this mission, at first I thought that I was going to return back to IWA with some Yondaime Hokage wannabe genin fresh out of his village's ninja academy. But after seeing what you did just now, it's safe to say that there's more to you than meet the eyes. I wish to see which of us is the stronger fighter. I'm not here for your amusement, girl, the annoyed Naruto retorted. I have more important things to do than to satisfy your ego. As if you had a say in the matter, Ryota shot back as she rushed at him and started doing combat with him. Neither Naruto nor Ryota held back from delivering fast and solid hard punches and kicks to each other, with the surrounding trees being the casualties of their battle. Punch after punch, kick after kick, this kept on going as they did battle, occasionally blocking and ducking from each other's attacks. Thus far, no other jutsus but brute force was used in their fight. After another minute, both Naruto and Ryota pulled away from each other to catch their breaths. Both ninjas were breathing hard as they stared each other hard to the face. Damn, Naruto mentally cursed, this Kunoichi is a real problem and she doesn't look like she's done yet. What a fighter, Ryota thought admirably. What kind of training regimen did he undergo? I don't recall any mentions of Yondaime Hokage having insane strength, only insane speed. From the looks of it, one would think that this Naruto character and I are evenly matched. But I intend to fix that in time. Naruto saw that the IWA Jounin was up to something, though he didn't know what. It would seem that we hit a stalemate, Ryota said as she stood up and dusted herself. Let's stop here for now. I think I've learned enough about you today. Where are you getting it, girl? Wouldn't you like to know? Ryota said. I'll leave you alone for now. But next time, venomously, I'll kill you. With that, she jumped into the air and dashed speedily through the trees and away from Naruto. She's going to be a problem, Naruto said aloud to himself. Yes, I know, Yondaime spoke after watching how his son handled the IWA Kunoichi, but I'm happy that you didn't reveal what you're really capable of doing. The last thing we need is Uegaku acquiring too much about you. Naruto nodded in agreement before running back to the house. After a good long run, Naruto found Sasuke and Sai guarding the house. Upon his arrival, the two boys noticed Naruto's dirted and somewhat ragged appearance. What happened to you? Sai asked. Ran into trouble, I presume. Nothing some food and a little rest can't fix, Naruto remarked with a smile on his face. You didn't answer the question, Sasuke shot at him. Did you run into any of Gato's men? No, Naruto said, I ran into something worse. The two boys looked at the blonde carefully on hearing that. Who? Sai asked. Some girl with an ego, Naruto said, causing the boys to sweat drop. A moment later. Yo, Kakashi greeted as he entered the scene. Seeing Naruto's appearance he inquired, ran into one of Gato's men. You're the second person to ask, Naruto answered, the only trouble I ran into earlier was some girl with the ego of rock. Kakashi's ears perked up on hearing that, especially at how Naruto placed a particular emphasis on the word rock. But the problem was neutralized for now, Naruto assured. Kakashi said nothing, though some unwanted memories of the IWA Konoha War came to his mind. He dismissed the memories before looking at Naruto again. Good, Kakashi acknowledged, no need to worry about a minor problem. Of course the Jounin knew that Konoha and IWA were not in good terms with each other, and if IWA was given a chance against Konoha they'd take it in a heartbeat. The Jounin decided not to worry about that for now and concentrate on other matters. Later that night, elsewhere. How do you feel, Zabuza-san? Said Haku as she sat at Zabuza's bedside dressed in complete hunter ninja garbs with the mask lying on the bed. A lot better. In a few hours I should be more than ready to move again. Go make certain the others are ready to move out early by morning. The blood of my enemies will pour over this country and their bridge of optimism, said Zabuza as he reached and grabbed his giant sword. I'll inform the others right away, said Haku, bowing her head before taking her mask with her before doing what she was told to do. The following day. The sun shone right onto Naruto's eyes, and it took a few minutes for him to blink away the weariness. He turned and looked at the clock. Damn. I overslept, Naruto thought before jumping out of bed, running to the bathroom, getting washed, running back to get dressed, and just as he was putting his flame-designed white vest on, he heard a yell from downstairs. "Get away from my child!" That was Tsunami-san. What, going downstairs? Naruto thought before he sensed two unfamiliar chakras. Detecting trouble, Naruto snuck out the window, and clung to the wall using his chakra. Making his way to the door, which was sliced to pieces, he looked in and saw two gruffy thugs, evidently low-level samurais, holding and taking Tsunami hostage and leaving a partly crying Inari. Quickly hiding, Naruto watched as the two samurais came out, leading a tied-up Tsunami. A moment later though, Inari remembered Naruto's words, "If you truly want to make that man in the picture proud of you if he were still alive, then I suggest you find someone or something you value and fight to protect it." Naruto's right. Mom is someone worth protecting and fighting for, just like grandfather is fighting in his own way. Kaizo-san did the same for us and this village because he felt we were something worth protecting and fighting for, Inari thought before he ran out the door. "Let go of my mom, you bullies," said Inari, catching up them not far from the wooden bridge that was connected to the platform of their house to the mainland area of Wave. "That brat is coming at us," said one of the samurais as he took out his sword ready to end Inari's life down in front of his mother's now tearing eyes, who was now in fear for her son's life. Jumping and landing some distance between Inari and the samurai thugs, Naruto took out two of his kunaus. "Release her," Naruto commanded. "What? You're one of those shinobi brats Tajuna hired," one of the samurais said. "Let's kill him and be done with," the other said. His partner looked threatened. "If you so much as move an inch, then we'll kill your little brat." They then rushed at Naruto, who led them away from Tsunami. Inari, seizing the opportunity, ran to his mother as fast as he could. "Mom, I'll save you," Inari said and untied her. "Inari," Tsunami said and hugged the boy. Meanwhile, getting them where he wanted, Naruto, being a good distance from them, grinned as the samurais rushed at him. "Fools," Naruto said, holding out his kunaus and placing a seal marker on each of them. After creating a kage bushin, Naruto handed his clone one of his kunaus before they began running towards the samurais as the samurais rushed at him. Timing it perfectly, the blondes threw their kunaus at them, and seconds before the kunaus passed the samurais, Naruto and his clone shunshined to the kunaus before grabbed the kunaus again. The surprised samurais managed to half-turn and see Naruto and the kage bunshin behind them before their throats were slashed. The kage bunshin puffed away and Naruto grabbed the spare kunau before removing the shunshin seals from both kunaus. Inari and Tsunami ran over to him, being careful not to step in the blood pool from the two dead samurais. "Naruto-kun, are you alright?" Tsunami asked. "I'm fine, thanks. If those two attacked here, maybe their other partners will attack the bridge where Kakashi Aizen and the others are. I'll clean up this mess before I go," Naruto said and made some kage buns hints. The clones picked up the two bodies and carried them out on the water. Naruto followed and made some hand seals speedily and Katon, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Element, Grand Fireball Technique, he called out, and the massive fireball he blew from his mouth incinerated the bodies. When he was done, he dispelled the clones and walked back to the two. He noticed Inari looking slightly afraid. "Don't worry, Inari, I won't hurt you," Naruto reassured. Smiling, Inari said, "Thanks, Naruto." "No problem," Naruto replied as he turned in the direction of the bridge. "I must go now." "Be careful, Oduke." Naruto didn't give Inari or Tsunami a chance to respond as he turned and ran from the scene. Check the description for the links to the author.